Chapter 1474. High Lord Hell. Chapter 1474. High Lord Hell Long Fei was like a madman. Crazy cultivation technique. It was the only thing he could do. Zhan Wushuang's one move to defeat him was simply too big of a blow. However, he did not know that Zhan Wushuang had used the energy of 200 levels and did not know that main artifact had the principle of attacking first to gain the upper hand. However, Zhan Wushuang was very clear about this. He understood all the power of the God's shield. This was the reason why Long Fei had lost. If the two of them activated their main artifact S at the same time, it was not clear who would win and who would lose. Of course, this was under the activation of energy of the same realm. If one were to compare Long Fei's energy at the 71st level, Zhan Wushuang's power at the 1000th level was simply too big of a difference. Again, rumble. Long Fei cultivated as though he was insane, looked at him dumbstruck, not knowing what to do. Yi Jingyun said, "If this goes on, I will become a cripple." "Young Master Long, you can't continue." Long Fei acted as if he did not hear anything, and converted his points into holy source pills to crazily replenish his holy source value. As long as he had the holy source value, he would be cultivating. The holy source was exhausted, and he was still cultivating. Every move, he would train his body like the average warrior. He lost twice to the same opponent. He would not allow himself to lose again. Absolutely not. Nangong Yen held on to Yi Jingyun and said, "Let him go crazy. He wants to vent it out. Otherwise, he will really collapse." No one could stand that kind of scene. A few years of preparation, a single defeat, such a blow. Unparalleled. Yi Jingyun said in a heavy voice, "Zhan Wushuang's strength is too strong. Young Master Long can kill a powerhouse with a semi-realistic realm, but then, that shield, that golden energy, furthermore, I heard that 9 secret warrior family is originally the descendant of a god. No matter how strong a young Master Long is, it would be impossible for them to fight against a god." Zhan Wushuang was too strong, so powerful that Yi Jingyun couldn't think of any way to shake it. Moreover, his background was so strong that it caused a chill to run through his heart. The 9 secret warrior family itself had a god. How could the clan of gods contend against this? Not at all. Nangong Yen looked at Long Fei and muttered, "So what if you're a god? No one can stop him. Believe him, he will definitely come out." Yi Jingyun sighed heavily. Nangong Yen then asked, "How are we going to deal with the exam? What news from the tower question of God?" Yi Jingyun was startled. He frowned and said, "It sounds strange, logically speaking. Long Fei killed Great Clan Elder Yen Tianluo, Second Clan Elder Kai Tianen, and a few other law enforcement clan elders. By right, the tower question of God should have sent people to apprehend Long Fei, but these 2 days, there has been no news at all. It's as if this never happened. Could it be that someone up there is protecting the young Master Long?" Yi Jingyun couldn't wrap his head around it. Grand Elder, the death of the second elder was a huge matter. There wasn't even a reaction, no reason. Nangong Yen stared at him and said, "You still want to react. Why would you be happy if Long Fei died?" Yi Jingyun hurriedly said, "That's not what I meant. I mean, this is too abnormal, right? I just don't think it's that simple." Nangong Yen slightly said, "It is indeed not simple. I wonder who exactly is protecting Long Fei, and what is his goal? I feel like this tower question of God is getting more and more difficult to understand. Who is protecting Long Fei? Zhan Wushuang did not want Long Fei to die. Thus, he didn't propose anything, but the law enforcement hall only listened to the order of the tower question of God's tower master. Regardless of whether Zhang Wushuang had proposed to break the law of the Tower Question of God, they would capture him. Killing an elder and even a member of the law enforcement hall was a huge matter. The law enforcement hall couldn't just let this go, unless the Tower Lord gave the order. The Tower Master of the Tower Question of God had always been a mysterious existence. Even Zhang Wushuang had never seen someone say that he was the saint of the 100th floor. Some say he is a god. Others said that he was a person who did not exist at all. However, no one dared to look down on his existence, much less challenge his authority. The Tower Question of God was still under his control, from beginning to end. Somewhere in the Tower Question of God. High Lord Hell, I've settled your son's matter for you. Don't you think you should give me the things you promised? A person wearing a black cloak whose appearance couldn't be seen clearly could only see a pair of cold, chilling eyes under the black robe. Naturally, I will give you the item. However, if something happens to my son, you know the consequences. A voice rang out in the air, filled with anger. The law enforcement hall will not touch him. As for whether or not Zhang Wushuang and the 9 secret warrior family will touch him, I don't care. Your son, I'll say something I shouldn't. Too arrogant, too flamboyant. It's not like you know how to endure. Even if you signed a contract with the Grim Reaper, you could still reverse the killing and replace it with a counterattack at the last moment. This is what I admire the most, Long Zhanting. Replacing. He had gone from being a nobody to becoming a High Lord of Hell. A godlike existence. Moreover, Long Zhanting's cultivation rose exponentially. From the day Long Fei entered the Chaos Realm, he had been preparing for Long Fei. He knew, sooner or later, Long Fei would come to the Tower Question of God, and he would be waiting for him here since the beginning. Furthermore, he knew the secrets of the owner of Tower Question of God and knew his fatal weakness. Lifespan. Humans are afraid of death. Powerhouse is afraid of death. Gods. The same was true for being afraid of death. What Long Zhanting could provide was longevity, lifespan beyond the control of fate. Long Zhanting slightly smiled. He walks on a different path than me. He is far stronger than me. You just need to control the law enforcement hall and not move him. As for Zhang Wushuang, sooner or later he will step on me, owner of Tower Question of God laughed coldly. Stepping on Zhang Wushuang? If you don't help him, even if he was given another 1,000,000 years, he will still not be able to surpass Zhang Wushuang. On him. But there are main artifacts. Moreover, it's the main artifact that Zhang Wushuang was born with. This is the mark of a god. He's the super genius that's about to become a god. What is your son? They're not even on the same level. Long Zhanting coldly laughed. He did not continue to argue with owner of Tower Question of God on this matter, because he was very clear of his own son. The stronger the enemy, the stronger his drive. The road of Long family's rise was not limited to God's martial continent. The Long family came from the divinity and even from the God realm. He wanted Long Fei to enter the ancient holy battlefield. He wanted to let the Long family truly rise in power in the hands of Long Fei, an existence that could crush all existence. This was the teachings of the Long ancestor. Since it was a dragon, it had to fly. God's martial continent, chaos realm, ancient holy battlefield, divinity, sovereign world. He would crush them all. This is Long family's ambition. Chapter 1475. Chapter 1475, 3 days later. Yiseng returned to his seat as the examiner. However, compared to the past, he was a little weak. In addition, the final mission, which was also the final round, was called the final exam, hunting. After he issued the mission, Long Fei walked out of the courtyard. His expression was more mature than before, and the aura around his body was even more vigorous. In these 3 days, he cultivated like a mad demon, breaking through the light speed sword. The light speed sword that he had mastered was completely different. Young Master Long, tomorrow will be the last round of the examination. After Yi Jingyun received the news, he immediately ran over, his brows tightly knitted, and said worriedly, "This time around, it seems to be one of the 5 people with the highest score. Your current result, other than the 100 points in his alchemy, the rest of Long Fei's alchemy were not up to standard. According to the results, he was at the bottom. Long Fei did not say anything. No matter what, he was determined to enter the tower question of God." Yi Jingyun looked at Long Fei with a calm face and said, "Young Master Long, aren't you worried?" Nangong Yen also walked into the courtyard and said, "There is still the final round of the examination. This time, the number of demon beasts being hunted will be determined, and whoever can kill more will be able to enter the tower question of Goddess to become its disciple." She looked at Long Fei and said softly, "Long Fei, this is your strength, and the final round of examination does not have the highest score. As long as you achieve a good result and surpass it, you will have the opportunity to strike back with all your might. If 100 was 100 points, then 1,000 would be worth 100 points. 10,000 would be 100 points. There was no limit. This way, as long as he was fierce enough, he would be able to fight back." Yi Jingyun was startled and said, "Can this be done?" Then, "Young Master Long, I will hunt demon beast with all my might tomorrow. I will give all the demon beasts to you." Nangong Yen followed. "I'll give it to you too." Long Fei asked coldly, "Top 5? Nangong Yen and Yi Jingyun looked at Long Fei, a little confused. The next morning, martial arts arena, there were only 70 or so disciples that were left in the top 100. At the last stage, all of them were especially agitated and nervous. Becoming a disciple of the Tower Question of God was something that could be bragged about for the rest of one's life. An opportunity to reach the heavens in a single step. He might even be able to break through the 100 layers of Tower Question of God. The Isum coughed lightly. His voice sank, and he said faintly, "This is the last trial of this assessment. After this assessment is over, we will decide that 5 disciples will enter the Tower Question of God. During these 3 days of hunting, there is no point limit. But there's one thing I need to remind you of. The demon beast here are incomparably powerful. You all must be careful." After he finished, the audience started discussing amongst themselves. "Young Master Feng, this time you've stabilized." "Ha ha ha. We can congratulate young Master Feng in advance. His score is the highest and is 300 points higher than the lowest. Who would be able to catch up?" "Exactly. I heard that there's a special reward for being first in the exam. Young Master Feng, don't forget me in the future." Feng Tian laughed proudly. He glanced at Long Fei, who was at the back of the crowd, and laughed complacently. "I will unleash an even stronger power during the last stage of the trial." Yi Jingyun shouted angrily, "Feng Tian, who are you calling a trash?" Feng Tian sneered. "Those with poor results are naturally trash, aren't they? If he wasn't a trash, how could his results be bad? And he's still far from breaking through the heavens." Yi Jingyun became furious and stared at Feng Tian. "If you dare, say it again." Feng Tian was not afraid in the slightest and said, "I already said those with poor results are trash, 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 trash. You going to bite me?" In 3 days, he would be an official disciple of the Tower Question of God. Yi Jingyun, Long Fei, these people were all people from different worlds, so he was naturally not afraid of anyone at this time. Even if Long Fei was extremely powerful, after 3 days, he was a man-to-man, and Long Fei was a lowly slave. The difference between them was like the difference between heaven and earth. He didn't have to be afraid at all. Wanting to make a comeback, that was impossible. Long Fei killed monsters quickly, and he was not slow either. Furthermore, he was not alone. He had many people. With regards to this quota, he was certain of it and certain of it. Yi Jingyun was furious. The Iseng shouted in a deep voice, "Enough, stop arguing. Who is the trash and who is the genius? This round will decide your fate. If you don't want others to call you trash, then devote all of your energy into 120,000 points. I said before, this is a test that can be reversed. This is your last chance." These words were said for Long Fei's ears. Iseng liked it when Long Fei passed the examination. However, it was very difficult. His grades are lagging far behind. The first round and the second round both had 0 points. The third round only got 100 points because of the second elder. The fourth round got the lowest score, and the fifth round got the lowest score, which meant that his current score was only 120 points. It could be said that it was impossible to make a comeback. Iseng looked at the time and said, "Let's begin." The secret world door opened, and the disciples entered in succession. Long Fei entered next. Iseng looked at Long Fei and reminded him, "Long Fei, do your best." Long Fei was startled for a moment and said, "Clan Elder, I would like to ask a question." Iseng asked, "What problem?" Long Fei asked, "Did the person ranked in the top 5 pass?" Iseng replied, "Yes, why are you asking this?" Long Fei laughed, but did not reply, and went straight into the secret world. Why would he ask that? Iseng muttered, a little confused. Suddenly, his brows tightened as he thought of a very serious problem. He murmured to himself, "Could it be he wants to kill? Hunting people?" "Sir, they've entered the final exam grounds. With his current results, it's impossible for him to make a comeback. Lord can be at ease." A oracle said respectfully. Zhan Wushuang held his hands behind his back, looked at the sky, looked at the giant golden pagoda in the sky, and muttered, "Long Fei, you are destined to be stepped on by me under my feet forever. Don't even think about getting up for the rest of your life." Then, Zhan Wushuang asked, "What level has Xianyuan Lier reached now?" Oracle replied, "It's already the 63rd floor." Zhan Wushuang smiled slightly and said, "Lier, it seems that Long Fei is really your motivation. Unfortunately, you will never see him again." "Ha ha ha." Zhan Wushuang laughed complacently. The faster Xianyuan Lier moved, the happier he became. Everything was going according to his plan. Once Xianyuan Lier broke through the 100th floor, she would definitely have no chance of leaving. She would be instantly summoned into the ancient holy battlefield. Chapter 1476. Laughing, now you're laughing for your father again. Chapter 1476. Laughing, now you're laughing for your father again. Hunting grounds, secret world. The majestic mountains stretched out endlessly. One couldn't see the end of them. "Young Master Long, what should we do?" Yi Jingyun stood beside Long Fei. Nangong Yen looked at the mountains and said in a low voice, "The demon beast here are all evil demon beast and are unusually dangerous. It's extremely difficult for even one person to survive here, and it's even more difficult to kill them all." Her ability to sense the power of evil far surpassed ordinary people. After entering this place, he immediately discovered that the air around the mountain was different, filled with an evil aura. This was most likely a training field, a training ground specialized for hunting demons. Yi Jingyun was startled. "Then what do we do?" Long Fei laughed coldly. "Hunting down demons is difficult. Then we'll just kill people." The two of them were stunned at the same time as they looked at Long Fei. Long Fei said slightly, "Go hunt the demon beast together. or stand here and don't move. I will allow all of you to enter the tower question of God. Finished. Long Fei moved. Fire unicorn. Boom. When the fire unicorn came out, Long Fei rode on top of it and said, "Find them." Fire unicorn said, "Understood." Shwa. The ball of fire disappeared in the blink of an eye. Only Nangong Yen and Yi Jingyun's dazed expressions remained. Yi Jingyun muttered, "What is young Master Long trying to do?" Nangong Yen looked at the sky and muttered, "It's a massacre. This time, no one can stop him." Deep in the night, the waning moon hung in the sky. The dense forest was pitch black, and only the occasional growl of demon beast could be heard from the valley in the distance. A bonfire was lit. The 5 people sat in a circle, discussing something softly. "Feng Tian will definitely get first place this time. We will also push ourselves to get first place, so we need to get at least 1 spot. Don't worry if I can enter the tower question of God. I will definitely think of a way to repay you." "Right. Have you seen that brat Long Fei? That trash? After this assessment is over, there's nothing left for him to do. Return to his original form and return to where he came from. He is destined to be from a different world from us." After being defeated by Zhan Wushuang in 1 move, it's clear that his talent is not even worth mentioning compared to Zhan Wushuang, and the tower question of God cannot possibly nurture him either. Speaking of Long Fei, you really brought about your own destruction. You deserved it. But that Nangong Yen is really pretty smart. It would be great if he could accompany me for 1 night. Ha ha ha. Everyone laughed. Just as they were talking, a stroke of flame fell heavily, and a fire unicorn stood on their bonfire. Long Fei asked coldly, "You like to laugh, right? Then laugh to your heart's content." Boom. Once the Sword of Destroy landed, the light speed sword was used at full strength. 1 second later, Long Fei slightly said, "Next place." The fire unicorn leapt into the air and instantly disappeared into the darkness. There was a thin crack on the necks of the 5 people, and they didn't have time to say anything. After Long Fei left, the bodies of the 5 people seemed to be unable to endure the pressure and fell down. All beheaded, instantly killed, blood wildly sprayed out, extinguishing the bonfire. Ding, ding, ding. 5 notifications sounded. Although there weren't many experience points, 50 points of striking energy value wasn't a small amount. Long Fei, what are you planning to do? We didn't offend you. We didn't do anything. You, what do you want to do? Long Fei sneered and said, "Didn't you guys like to ridicule me? Aren't you laughing very happily? I'll make you cry now." As soon as he finished, Long Fei moved again and slashed out. Shwa. The full moon sword chi eliminated at 360 degrees and slashed down. Kacha, kacha. His body was split in half. The surrounding towering trees also collapsed, all of them with their waists cut off. Long Fei did not stay any longer, and once again rode his fire unicorn and flew to another place. Boss, 60 kilometers to the east. The fire unicorn moved slightly. Right now, it had absorbed all of the power of the Qilin's sacred blood, and its sensing ability was extremely strong. Long Fei said, "Then let's continue." For the entire night, Long Fei did not stop, nor did he kill a single demon beast. Those who had mocked him had always ignored them, but they just like to be cheap. The more you don't care about them, the happier they will be. If that was the case, then all of them will die. Being defeated by Zhan Wushuang in 1 move was a huge blow to Long Fei. However, his temperament had also changed. His murderous intent was even stronger. In another place. Boom. One of the evil demons was killed. Feng Tian walked forward and beheaded it, and kept it among the space rings. Young Master Feng, there's another demon beast. You have won for sure this time. Ha ha ha. Everyone began to laugh excitedly. Feng Tian also laughed complacently. This is all because of everyone. Once I enter the tower question of God, I, Feng Tian, will definitely not mistreat everyone. Our Feng family will definitely reward you heavily. Ha ha ha. Feng Tian started laughing, feeling extremely proud in his heart, and thought to himself, I never thought that I, Feng Tian, would enter the tower question of God with the first result. Ha ha ha. All of this is fate. So what if it's Song Kuang? So what if it's Yi Jingyun? So what if it's Long Fei? After a few days, these people will all just be ants in my eyes. After 3 days, he would become a man. Superior. Long Fei. He was just a lowly person. The corner of Feng Tian's mouth hooked up coldly as he said sinisterly, At that time, Nangong Yen will become my plaything and I will trample him under my feet. Ha ha ha. It's very interesting just to think about it. Boom. At this moment, a flame fell and a roar resounded. Everyone was shocked. A disciple said in shock, It's Long Fei. Feng Tian's eyes darkened. With a cold snort, he said, Long Fei, what are you doing here? Long Fei's eyes swept across them and said, What are you doing? It's very simple. I'll take your life. Feng Tian's mind trembled and said, This is the secret world who is taking the examination for the tower question of God. You dare to kill randomly? Besides, I have so many people here. Why would I be afraid of you? The crowd was taken aback. They stepped forward and bellowed. Feng Tian laughed. Long Fei, if you know what's good for you, scram. If you don't, you're going to die here today. Understand? You dog. Ha ha ha. The surrounding people burst into laughter. Long Fei slightly raised his eyes and moved once again. His figure shot out like a ray of light and landed with a whoosh. Boom. A person's body was split in half. Long Fei grinned. You like laughing? Now F*** king. Continue laughing. Boom. The sword slashed again and again. Another person's body was split into 2 halves. Long Fei. A massacre. A slaughter. No one could stop him. In just a few seconds, all of the disciples surrounding him fell. Long Fei stared at the shivering Feng Tian and said, Laugh, laugh for lousy again. Chapter 1477, Shocking the Great Perfection Stage. Chapter 1477, Shocking the Great Perfection Stage, the sword landed. Crack! A ray of light flashed, and with a sound, Feng Tian tried his best to block it. It was impossible to stop them. The difference in cultivation level between him and Long Fei was too great. His body was instantly cut in half. The head rolled to Long Fei's feet, eyes filled with fear. His expression still carried a stiff smile. Long Fei stomped his foot on the ground and coldly said, You can laugh slowly in hell. Out of the 70-some disciples that took the test, only 3 of them were still alive. Long Fei, Yi Jingyun, Nangong Yen. Every one. All killed. And these people were all people who mocked Long Fei. If they liked to laugh, then they would have enough fun in hell. Long Fei looked at the night sky and said in a low voice, No one can stop me now. Zhan Wushuang, you are strong, but I will definitely become stronger than you. I, Long Fei, swear. Boom. Long Fei moved, summoning his gods war beasts. He said solemnly, Now, your slaughter has begun. Boom. The ice thunderbird was also released. The fire unicorn also stood in front of Long Fei. Long Fei said, Go and attract all the evil demon beast in the mountains. I want to break through to the great perfection stage. Understood. The 2 divine beasts rushed out. Long Fei was currently at the 8th level of the stage, 2 levels away from the Great Perfection stage. Only by breaking through would he be able to obtain stronger strength. Moreover, more importantly, with his mastery of Tower Question of God, he could cultivate godly strength, true divine power, the divine power of Xiao Luo divine body, the God power of the Sun God authentic artifact. The two powers had always been restricted by long phase cultivation and could not be completely activated. As long as Long Fei grasped the divine power, the two powers would erupt. The level of Paragon was very important. Other than that, the nourishment and refinement of the body must be improved. Long Fei really wanted to level up a lot of things right now. He thought he had made ample preparations, but not yet. Next time, Long Fei would definitely not do this. Rumble! With a boom from the god's hammer, a huge tree that reached the sky was smashed into pieces. Splatters of wood flew everywhere as it let out a roar, the aura on its body spreading out and enveloping the entire mountain range. It growled out, "All of you come out and die." This was a direct provocation towards the demonic demon beast in the entire mountain range. Long Fei was crushed. Furthermore, he was being crushed under the fitted soul, so the god's war beast was in a bad mood as well. Over the past few thousand years, he had always been eating and waiting for death in the chaos realm. There was no hope, no thoughts, but now it was different. Long Fei ignited the hope that was sealed in his heart. This allowed him to see that one day he would be able to return to the ancient holy battlefield. Long Fei was his everything. Whoever dared to touch Long Fei would become his enemy. It was that simple. Long Fei was his hope. Boom, boom. Deep within the mountain range, countless giant demon beast let out deep roars, low roars of anger. In just a few seconds, all the demonic demon beast were crazily roaring, and the entire mountain was shaking. Their footsteps were like thunder, as if they were a magnificent army with thousands of men and horses charging forward. Dust filled the sky. The corner of the god's war beast's mouth twitched, and the god's hammer in his hand moved slightly. He laughed in disdain. "Come." At this time, Long Fei also stepped forward, with one hand of the Sword of Destroy. His fist sank as he glanced at the god's war beasts and said, "Let's see who kills the most." The god's war beast smiled slightly and said, "Boss, you will definitely not be able to compete against me in this aspect." Long Fei said, "What if you lose?" The god's war beast was stunned for a moment, then laughed out loud. "If I lose, you can even blow up my ass." As soon as he finished, the god's war beast's legs pushed, and its huge body jumped straight up, flying out like a heavy truck, after which it landed heavily on the ground and exploded. With another push, his body leaped into the air once more. With a few consecutive steps, he charged to the top of a mountain and let out a roar. "The old man is here. All the small fries, come up." On the peak of the mountain, the god's war beasts carried the god's hammer on its shoulder, and its eyes were like torches sweeping through everything. It was like a monarch descending upon the world. What was a heavenly king? This was god's war beasts. Long Fei chuckled and said faintly, "So fierce. I should try harder too." His figure rushed out like a ghost. If he wanted to compare himself to the tyrannical aura of the god's war beasts, Long Fei was a bit more feminine. However, if he was comparing killing intent, fighting intent, the dense killing intent on Long Fei's body was a lot more intense than the god's war beasts. Boom! Into the woods. A demonic demon beast with hair like steel needles rushed forward. Long Fei moved his fist, releasing his chi in all directions, and threw a heavy punch, blood moon punch. One punch, kill. Boom. With a punch, he sent the demon beast flying. Beneath the thick skin, all the joints were shattered. There was not the slightest bit of reaction. Ding! The system beep rang. The first one. Longfei smiled slightly. Immediately after, his body sank, and once again rang out with the other demon beast. At the same time, Longfei did not defend at all, cultivating his cultivation technique, and at the same time cultivating his flesh and blood. The best way to cultivate the body was to resist blows. This allowed for a heavier and fiercer attack to temper the body, allowing the potential within the body to be fully unleashed. In the group of demon beast, Longfei was like a god of death. Come on, all of you. Longfei's eyes turned blood red. He roared and threw out a punch. Experience was soaring. His energy values was going wild. From dawn to dusk, then into the night. One day and one night, Longfei did not stop for a moment. His entire body was dyed in blood, the blood of Demon Beastess, and also his own blood. It was extremely sinister. Boom. Another demon beast fell. Ding. Congratulations to player Longfei for killing demonic demon beast, for obtaining 90,000 experience, 8,000 holy source points, and 1 energy values point. Congratulations to player Longfei for obtaining the demonic blood vein. Ding. Congratulations to player Longfei for leveling up. Current level, Chen stage level 9. Buzz. A loud bang came from within his body as the power of stage 9 was channeled into his body. It was very strong, so Longfei could clearly feel that his power had become stronger. Continue. Longfei's instantly recovered, and as if it had resurrected, it rushed into the group of demon beast even more ferociously, killing them all. Boom. Rumble. On the morning of the 3rd day, demon beast corpses littered the ground. The valleys were covered in rivers of blood, and the sky was dyed red. Longfei stood on top of a mountain. At this moment, the gods' war beasts had already returned to the war pet space due to the time limit. Longfei looked at the demon beast in front of him, looked at his last sliver of health, and then looked at the experience trail. He grinned slightly and said, "Come, my great complete stage." Chapter 1478, System Reward, 1-star Godhood. Chapter 1478, System Reward, 1-star Godhood. His figure was like a remnant as he passed through. Boom. That demon beast slowly fell. Ding. Congratulations to player Longfei for killing demonic demon beast, for obtaining 90,000 experience, 8,000 holy source, and 1 energy values. Ding. Congratulations to player Longfei for leveling up. Semi-God. The instant the system beeped, a preliminary divine spark appeared in Longfei's sea of consciousness. It wasn't material like an illusion, as though an idea had formed. At the same time, a bit of power in his sea of consciousness, mind, and body poured into the initial divine spark. It seemed to be condensing. At present, he could not see its shape, nor could he sense its strength attribute. However, there was one thing Longfei could clearly sense: it was extremely strong. Semi-God, level realm? Longfei muttered, and thought, is this supposed to be the highest realm of chaos realm? Ding! Congratulations to player Longfei for breaking through the great perfection stage and obtaining a special reward. Special reward. Longfei's eyes shook, and he immediately became excited. The system's special reward must be extraordinary, and this is a special reward from the great perfection stage. It must be extraordinary. What is it? Ding. Congratulations to player Longfei for obtaining the system's special reward, 1-star Godhood. As soon as he finished, in Longfei's mind floated a sparkling and transparent stone that was the size of a thumb, and it emanated an endless power. Divine power. It faintly moved, emitting beams of divine light. Truly divine power, compared to the of the Tower Question of God. The divine power they cultivated was only the divine power bestowed to them by the gods, but the divine power in the divine spark was a complete divine power. It was far more powerful than the divine power they had trained in. It was abnormally thick. Long Fei had a stupefied face. He was completely dumbstruck. The heck? This was the legendary divine spark. System, you. Long Fei was a little incoherent, too excited. He had never thought that things would turn out this way. Happiness came too suddenly. Long Fei was not prepared at all. Last time at the ice and snow plain, he did not draw a divine spark during the rave draw. He did not expect to suddenly receive a divine spark this time. It was as if he suddenly possessed the entire world. A divine spark. Ha ha ha. Zhan Wushuang, let me see how you can be so powerful. Can you defeat me in one move? Your father, an idea of the gods, will instantly kill you. Long Fei was wild with excitement. The idea moved and quickly shouted, "Blend Fo Godhead." At this moment, the sleeping beauty was suddenly awakened and immediately said, "Master, wait." Long Fei was startled and asked, "What's wrong?" The system sounded out. Ding. Is it the Blend Fo Godhead? Long Fei did not look at the one-star godhood's attributes. He only thought of one thing, the Blend Fo Godhead, to obtain the divine power and trample Zhan Wushuang to death. Hearing the sleeping beauty's sudden shout, Long Fei stopped and asked again, "Can't we fuse them?" He didn't know why. The sleeping beauty started to become abnormally nervous. It was unknown if it was because he saw her divine vision or because Long Fei wanted to ask for the Blend Fo Godhead, but Long Fei had never seen her this anxious. It was very strange. The sleeping beauty said, "Of course not." Long Fei asked curiously, "Why, I can obtain the god power from the Blend Fo Godhead. In Chaos Realm, it can be said that I can do whatever I want." The sleeping beauty said, "Do you want your cultivation to remain in the realm of a one-star god forever?" Long Fei did not understand and asked, "What do you mean?" The sleeping beauty said, "A divine spark is the result of the fall of a god. It appeared from the divine spark in his sea of consciousness, and its power is from the time of death. A one-star godhood is one-star god. If it is fused with you, your cultivation will forever remain in the same realm, which means that you will be able to completely absorb the power from the divine spark. Your cultivation will remain the same for an eternity. You will only be in the realm of a one-star god and will not be able to break through any further. Divine sparks, seal of cultivation. It is very strong indeed. However, this was the only place where the fused could stay. They would never be able to surpass the limits of this restriction. This was its fatal weakness. Long Fei was stunned. He did not even bother to look at the divine spark's properties. In his mind, he just wanted to stomp Zhan Wushuang to death, but he did not expect the Blend Fo Godhead to imprison his cultivation. And then, Long Fei looked at the attributes of the one-star godhood. It was just as the sleeping beauty had said, the cultivation of those who fused would be restricted, which is to say that Long Fei had fused with the realm of being only a one-star god forever. At this moment, Long Fei hesitated. The sleeping beauty said, "You have to think about it, whether it is for revenge or for something else, whether it is Zhan Wushuang or something else. You have to consider everything carefully." Zhan Wushuang. That's just a rock in front of me. Naturally, my target won't be him. Long Fei did not place Zhan Wushuang in his eyes at all. It was just a matter of time. His goal was Main Temple. It's the destiny god. It was the heavens. Long Fei exhaled, a lingering fear in his heart, and said, "Fortunately, you reminded me quickly. Otherwise, I would have merged with you." The Blend Fo Godhead's transformation to Zhan Wushuang was indeed satisfying, but it was just a moment of speed. How about killing Zhan Wushuang? would the 9 secret warrior family let him go? How could the saint in the tower let him go? Although the chaos realm is not a divine plane, but this world also had divine level powerhouses. 1-star godhood were only the lowest level divine sparks. Any 2-star could easily crush him. Huff! Long Fei let out a light breath, then said, "It won't be merged in the future." The Sleeping Beauty giggled. It was as if she was being relieved of a heavy burden, as she said, "Use your own strength to condense a divine spark. At that time, your potential will be infinitely amplified. The path of divine cultivation has just begun for you. Master, you must remember a divine cultivator is different from ordinary martial arts training. It requires more energy to fuse together, and your path is one of divine cultivation. You must walk your own path of cultivation, the unique Tao of divine cultivator." Long Fei nodded and said, "Understood." The Sleeping Beauty giggled. Long Fei looked at her peerless appearance and once again thought about the scene of the 9-dragon coffin. He said, "I really want to know just who you are. Where did you come from?" He had never felt such an intense desire to know the identity of the Sleeping Beauty before, because the feeling she gave Long Fei was just too strong. Ancient God. Long Fei had a feeling that she was stronger than the ancient god, and by far too much too. The Azure Dragon's primordial ancestor pulled the coffin. The guards. It was something that would never change. That kind of scene would make anyone's heart tremble. Long Fei was the same. The Sleeping Beauty giggled and said, "Master, do you really want to know?" Chapter 1479. 3 people come out. Chapter 1479. 3 people come out. Long Fei looked at the Sleeping Beauty's serious expression and nodded without hesitation. "I really want to know." He. The Sleeping Beauty stuck out her tongue and said, "I don't know either. Air." Long Fei rolled his eyes. "I admire you, and you still look serious. All right, I won't ask you this question next time." The Sleeping Beauty really didn't know? Honestly, Long Fei did not believe it. However, after this time, he would no longer ask this question. This was because if the Sleeping Beauty wanted to tell him, she would naturally tell him. If she didn't, he wouldn't be able to ask. The key was she had been helping Long Fei the entire time. It was enough for them to keep helping him. The Sleeping Beauty pouted as its large eyes blinked. It looked a little wronged and a little sad. Its expression made one's heart ache just by looking at it. The Sleeping Beauty whispered like a mosquito. "Master, I'm sorry, I can't say it. I really can't say it. I'm afraid it will bring you a lot of trouble. Actually, I come from another plane, an unimaginable plane. I am here to find you." As for his goal, she didn't say it. Her goal was to find Long Fei. Otherwise, Long Fei would be endlessly hunted down and would become the target of the powerhouse, who were even more powerful than the powerhouse in this plane. There was no way Long Fei could survive. These Sleeping Beauties definitely could not let Long Fei know. Her voice was so soft that no one else could hear her. Long Fei naturally did not hear it either. Looking at the Sleeping Beauty's pitiful look, his heart ached to the point of breaking down. He hurriedly changed the topic and said, "Oh, right, how do we deal with the 1-star godhood?" A divine spark. To the warriors of the chaos realm, it was a treasure compared to any holy artifact. Ancient holy artifacts were 100,000, a million times stronger, because it could truly allow you to soar into the skies, allowing a person who knows nothing to become a peak powerhouse. Even though he was a trash, he had instantly become a peerless powerhouse. That was his charm. Long Fei no longer had any interest in this divine spark, so dealing with it now was indeed a problem. The Sleeping Beauty thought for a moment and said, It isn't of much use to you. Moreover, you can't absorb its power right now. You can decide on your own, give it to others, or throw it away. Casual. He completely didn't place this divine spark in his eyes. What others couldn't even ask for was like trash in her eyes. At this moment, Yi Jingyun and Nangong Yen walked over, looking at the demon beast corpses littered the ground. The two of them were shocked on the way. What kind of scene was this? Young Master Long, you killed them all by yourself. Aren't you being too awesome? Yi Jingyun was in a state of disbelief. He looked at Yi Jingyun, then looked at Nangong Yen, and thought to himself, are they suitable candidates? Or to those in the heavenly court's base, in the infernal realm? At that moment, Long Fei was also unable to make a decision. He wanted everyone around him to be able to break through their shackles and walk out of his path of divine cultivation, fusing with his unique divine spark. However, becoming a deity, it was too difficult. Amongst the billions of living beings in Chaos Realm, less than 1 in 10 million could break through the bottleneck and become a god. Even out of 1 trillion people, it was hard for even one of them to become a deity. There were 2 paths to becoming a god in the Chaos Realm: to cross the heavenly tribulation and use the heavenly tribulation to condense a divine spark. The path was basically a dead end. The chances of one becoming a god were even slimmer. No one had succeeded for hundreds of years, and no one even tried now. It was the same as the gods' Marshall Continent tribulation. If it failed, it would disappear into ashes. The other way would be for Tower Question of God. After entering the ancient holy battlefield, one could obtain merits in exchange for a divine spark. These are the 2 paths to becoming a god in the Chaos Realm. It was all extremely difficult, and the success rate was as low as it could be. Take the current Tower Question of God. For example, in these few hundred years, there had been a Zhan Wushuang who had appeared in the last 1,000 years, a person who was most likely to become a deity. And that's why. Only then would the Tower Question of God view him as a treasure. Humph. Long Fei eventually gave up. He only had 1 divine spark. Who should he give it to? He couldn't decide. He had to give it to someone who needed it more. Looking at Yi Jingyun, he smiled blandly and said, "Now we will harvest these demon beasts' heads, and will be teleported out in a few hours." Yi Jingyun laughed excitedly. Ha ha! This is a huge reversal. Martial arts practice field. The final day of the assessment. Other than the examiner Yi Sung, there was also a large group of Tower Question of God elders present. Beast Control Hall, Alchemy Hall, Refining Branch. They were all watching to see who would become the first disciple to come out, who would become the first person in the group. Did they have the qualifications to enter the Tower Question of God? This batch has quite a few good seedlings. Disciples who are able to obtain Volume Question of God are all geniuses amongst geniuses. If only we had a few more geniuses like Zhan Wushuang. Keep dreaming. There's only been 1 Zhan Wushuang in Chaos Realm for the past 1,000 years. How many more do you want? To be able to get even 1 more would already be burning incense to worship Buddha. Isn't this another batch of disciples that had killed the great clan elder? What is his potential? Humph. Just that piece of trash. Who knows what kind of strange power he cultivated. Based on his strength alone, he isn't even the Grand Elder's opponent. If he were to be compared with the Second Elder, this kind of trash will definitely not be able to enter the Tower Question of God. I heard that his pubes is broken and his tendons and veins are congealed. What potential can such a person have? He wants to compete with Zhan Wushuang? How can the stars compete with Hao Yue? Says he's a star that has been raised. He's also a slave. He has the mark of a slave on his body, and is just a lowly slave in the Chaos Realm. I really don't know what methods he used to obtain the Volume Question of God. All these are secondary. Do you know how many points he obtained in this exam? 2 times, and there are 2 more times that I am 10 points. Ha ha. Can a trash like him pass the examination? Even a 3-year-old kid wouldn't be like him, right? Ha ha ha. The elders started to laugh out loud, killing elders looking down on Tower Question of God. This made them feel extremely displeased. At the same time, they were more aware that Long Fei had offended Zhan Wushuang. This alone was enough for them to stand in formation. At this moment, Yisun coughed and said, "Time is up. Open the secret world's door and summon them out." "Yes, sir." At this time, everyone quieted down and looked towards the exit of Secret World. Just who was the first to come out? The first person to come out was the best. This was automatically acknowledged by the Secret World. Buzz. The Secret World's door opened, and a figure was summoned out. The one standing in front of them was no other than Long Fei. Then 2 voices came out, Nangong Yan, Yi Jingyun. And then, there was no then. The 3 of them had returned. All the elders were stunned. However, at the same time, he was also enraged. Chapter 1480. Chapter 1480. Where is he? One of the clan elders stared at Long Fei and bellowed. They had stared at the exit of the secret world for a long time, yet they did not see a 4th person walk out. In the end, there were only 3 people left from the 70-odd examination disciples. How is that possible? Without waiting for Long Fei to reply, an elder suddenly jumped in front of Long Fei and shouted, "I'm asking you a question. Where is he? Where are they?" Long Fei shrugged his shoulders and said, "I don't know. Why did you ask me? I'm not their nanny. How would I know where they are?" "You don't know?" The elder was enraged and said, "Long Fei, you don't know? Out of so many disciples here, only the 3 of you have returned." "Humph, you think we're 3-year-olds. Long Fei, tell us the truth. Otherwise, don't blame us for being impolite." All the elders clamored. This was no small matter. Out of the 100 disciples that took the test, only 3 remained. With so many disciples remaining, there was only 1. All dead. This was the first time in the history of a Tower Question of God. Long Fei was not afraid in the slightest, coldly laughed, and said, "You're not courteous. If anyone dares to touch me, then your father will kill them." His eyes turned cold. His killing intent intensified. As long as that elder dared to touch him, he would not hesitate to crush him. Good, good, good. Long Fei, I've heard that you're arrogant, but I didn't believe it in the past. Now, I know how arrogant you are. That elder was flustered and exasperated, and said, "I was just spouting nonsense. Even if all the disciples from the examination die, don't even think about stepping into the Tower Question of God. Understand? I won't let you in." Long Fei laughed and said, "You won't let me in? It's not up to you, is it? What qualifications do you have to prevent me from entering the Tower Question of God?" If not for the fact that the Tower Question of God was hiding the answer that Long Fei wanted to know, and if not for the fact that Xianyuan Li Air was inside the Tower Question of God, Long Fei would really be disdainful to enter. However, the more people didn't want him to enter, the more he wanted to enter. The elder yelled, "On what basis?" "Based on my status as an elder of the Tower Question of God and your tone of voice right now, I am qualified to use all my power to not let you in." Long Fei laughed. "Elder, I have already killed Yan Tianluo. Why would I be afraid of you, this clan elder? I really don't place you in my eyes. Unbridled, savage to the extreme. So, what if he was an elder? If you offend me, I will still make a fool of myself." The atmosphere became tense. Almost all the clan elders were enraged. Long Fei was too arrogant. He had truly provoked the wrath of everyone. However, However, Long Fei did not mind at all. Nangong Yen stepped forward to mediate the situation. Elders, the demonic demon beast in the hunting grounds, are too strong, and there are also hordes of beasts. Many disciples died inside. Although we did not see all of the disciples die in there, we did see a lot of them. We only know about these things. Yi Jingyan also quickly said, "It's all true. I don't know who did it, but all the demonic beasts inside looked like they had eaten aphrodisiac. All of them were extremely ferocious, unable to resist at all. Could it be that the Beast King question of God's incident happened again, and more people want to take action against us? If these elders tried to stop them, it would truly be a troublesome matter." The leader of the elders said with a dark expression, "Then why did only the three of you come back?" Yi Jingyan joked, "Because we are handsome." Huh. The elder stared at Yi Jingyan, and Yi Jingyan immediately replied, "It should be our good luck." Humph. The elder snorted. "Good luck? I think the three of you have escaped this calamity while hiding in the dog hole. Do the three of you think that you can pass the examination? One look and you are all disciples who have done nothing. You don't even need to look at the results, do you? Immediately pack your bags and go home. Where did you come from? Go back to where you came from. Don't embarrass yourself in front of the tower question of God." The few elders sneered in disdain. Long Fei slightly said, "How do you know that we have not done anything?" The elder smiled and said, "What's wrong? What else do you do? 0 points. 10. Only trash like you can do anything? Even if I had to find a 3-year-old child, I would be better than you, Long Fei." The word trash made Long Fei extremely unhappy, and the anger in his heart surged. Yi Jingyan immediately pulled Long Fei back and said, "According to the assessment rules, the first 5 disciples aren't qualified to enter the tower question of God, are they?" This is what the Yi Sung said. This was also the standard for this assessment. Top 5. There was no need to look anymore. Long Fei and the other 2 should be the only disciples left, and all of them should have already entered. However, after Yi Jingyan finished speaking, all the elders laughed loudly. Ha ha ha, ha ha ha. It was as if he was mocking Yi Jingyan for being an idiot. That elder was laughing so hard that he fell back and forth. "Who told you to take the top 5? Yi Sung was slightly taken aback, then said, "That's what the higher-ups told me." The elder laughed. "Up there, did the higher-ups tell you that trash isn't accepted? Did they tell you that the examinees who scored 0 in the exam were not in the admission range? And the 3 of them did not achieve anything in the final round of assessment. This is called fleeing from the battle, hiding like mice. And you think the 3 of you are trash to become tower question of God's disciples. Is there something wrong with your brains?" Ha ha ha. The crowd laughed maniacally. Other than Yi Sung, all the elders and Oracle-S in the entire training field were laughing at Long Fei and the other 2. Long Fei was very unhappy. Staring at that elder, he asked solemnly, "Then how do we get accepted?" The elder laughed mockingly. "What kind of results can you achieve in the last round? 100 points? 200 points? Or could it be 0? Upon saying 0, all of the elders began to laugh loudly again. Yi Sung frowned. Long Fei's expression did not change, and he said, "As long as you have enough points, you will be accepted, right?" "That's right. A total of 6 rounds. If your final score can reach 500 points, then you will be eligible to be admitted. 500 points. Do you? A person with 2 0 marks. Do you have the qualifications to do so?" With that elder began to laugh loudly again. Ha ha ha. Yi Zichen laughed nonstop. Long Fei clenched his fists. The elder mocked, "What? Are you unconvinced? If you don't accept it, then take out your last round of demon beast hunting. Take it out. He was very clear in his heart that there definitely was no demon beast in Long Fei's group. He wanted to humiliate Long Fei once again. You can't take it out, right? Ha ha ha. Go home and farm. Ha ha ha. All of the elders began to laugh. At this moment, Long Fei slowly walked to the training grounds. At the same time, Yi Jingyun and Nangong Yen also walked over. What do they want? Long Fei suddenly stopped and said, "Open your dog eyes wide and see clearly." Chapter 1481. Is that enough? Chapter 1481. Is that enough? Yi Jingyun. Long Fei shouted. Yi Jingyun grinned. Understood. Boom. A bloodied monster head was taken out from the space ring and slammed onto the ground. Yi Jingyun laughed complacently. Do you know what this is? Demonic demon beast. Everyone was slightly shocked. He was shocked by the sudden appearance of the monster head. The elder sneered and said, "A demon beast? What's the use of it? What could it change? You picked up this monster head, right?" Yi Jingyun was also in a bad mood and said, "Then you'll have to watch it for me." Boom, boom, boom. One after another, monster head were taken out. Their speed was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, hundreds of monster head were piled up like hills. If each of them was worth 1 point, these monster head score would have already reached over 300 points. Yi Jingyun laughed. Is that enough? The entire arena was incomparably quiet. Those elders had unsightly expressions on their faces. It was as if someone had slapped them, making them feel uncomfortable. Yi Jingyun laughed. You're still here to pick them up? If you have the guts, go in and pick one up. Yi Jingyun slowly walked down, returning back to Long Fei's side. At this time, Long Fei yelled again, "Nangong Yen." Nangong Yen walked forward and said, "Understood. It's my turn. Look carefully." Boom, boom, boom. There was another huge pile, and there were more than 400 of them. Half of the training grounds was occupied by the two monster head, and the elders could not make a sound. Only the Isong was incomparably excited. Nangong Yen disdained and said, "Is that enough?" Imperceptibly, another slap landed on their old faces. It was extremely painful. And then Nangong Yen also returned to Long Fei's side. Long Fei grinned and said, "All clan elders, do you have the qualifications now?" The elders were perplexed. These were all demonic beasts. They were very strong, but no one had been able to kill this many demon beast within 3 days. Are you crazy? The reason why this round of examination was placed in the final round was because it was the most difficult. To be able to kill 3 of these disciples in 3 days was already his limit. Even if he formed a team, he could only kill 10 at most. How could he not be shocked when he killed several hundred of them at once? The elder gritted his teeth and said, "The 2 of them are qualified, but you are still not qualified. Do you want me to take out all of the monster head?" Long Fei smiled slightly. The elder said, "Can you take it out? You won't cry until you see the coffin?" Long Fei laughed and said, "Clan elder, how about we make a bet? If I win, then just say that you're trash and say that 3 times. How is it? That elder was angered and said, "Impudent." Long Fei disdainfully snorted and said, "Stop with the nonsense. This daddy only asked you if you dare to say that, and don't talk nonsense with me about those useless things." The elder's eyes moved, and he said, "The 2 of them have 370 heads, and the other has 430. If you kill more than 500 demonic beasts, just take it as me losing. Do you dare to bet?" Even if Long Fei had a monster head, it wouldn't exceed 500. Nangong Yen glanced at Long Fei. Long Fei's eyes slightly shivered. The clan elder immediately became excited and said, "Long Fei, aren't you arrogant? Is it wilting now? Do you dare to take a gamble? If you have the guts, bet with me. If I lose, I'll do as you say. If you lose, kneel down and kowtow to me. Also, you are never allowed to take even half a step into the tower question of God." Betting, seeing Long Fei's change in expression, he became excited. Only a terrified person would have such an expression. This time, he was definitely going to win. Long Fei said hesitantly, "Is the wager unfair?" "I think. Do you want to bet or not?" "No way." That elder took a step forward and became even more proud. "Aren't you arrogant?" "Arrogant. Isn't this a fair bet?" "All right, then, how do you think we should be fair?" Long Fei said, "Elder, is that right? Otherwise, I think we should just forget about it." "No way." The elder shouted, "You said that you wanted to gamble. Now, do you want to? If you don't bet, you can kneel down and kowtow and admit your wrongs." Long Fei said, "You think I'm afraid of you? If I win, not only would you call yourself trash, you would also call yourself a fool." "Humph! Do you think you can scare me?" That elder coldly snorted, "I ate more salt than you did. You want to bomb me?" "Long Fei, you have lost for sure today." Long Fei laughed and said, "You eat so much salt, so it's not salty at all? You want to bet, right? Fine, I'm really afraid that you won't be betting anymore." Long Fei's expression suddenly changed. He knew that this guy would fall for his trick. "It's not enough to call me trash, it's more than enough to call me stupid." Seeing Long Fei's expression, the elder's heart suddenly sank as he exclaimed in his heart, "Damn it!" However, there was no turning back now. He secretly clenched his fists and said solemnly, "I do not believe that you can kill 500 demon beasts." And then Long Fei laughed and said, "I saw it clearly." Boom, 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 boom. The monster head exploded in a series of attacks. Nangong Yen and Yi Jingyun counted at the same time, both of their faces revealing complacent smiles. 500, this was just to make sure. Not to mention 500 of them. Even 50,000 of them, including Long Fei, had all been killed by Long Fei. Of course, this also gave Long Fei time to get rid of those heads. Boom, boom, boom. 687, 761. It was not over. Half an hour passed. Boom. 1,798. The last monster head was taken out. Long Fei looked at the dumbstruck elder, smiled slightly, and said, "Is that enough?" His face was pale. It was extremely ugly. The elder's body was trembling slightly. Everyone on the stage was shocked. Over 1,000 demon beasts. This was simply impossible, but the reality before him made it impossible to argue with him. Long Fei didn't care whether they were shocked or not. He just stepped forward and smiled. "Elder, let's fulfill your bet. Come, let everyone hear whether you're a waste or a fool." "Ha ha ha." Long Fei laughed. The elder's eyes turned sinister as he stared at Long Fei and said, "Long Fei, I am an elder of the Tower Question of God. Don't push your luck." "Yo, if I let you fulfill the bet, then you will have to push your luck?" "Then why did you laugh at me just now? What's that called?" "I'm trash." "Who's the trash now?" Long Fei didn't budge an inch as he stepped forward and said coldly, "Either you fulfill the bet, or I'll hit you until you fulfill the bet." Chapter 1482. His father is an apostle of the evil oracle. Chapter 1482. His father is an apostle of the evil oracle. Unconvinced, beat him until he submitted. As long as he doesn't honor the terms, Long Fei will make his move. Long Fei's voice was filled with chilliness. When he thought of Kai Tian and Yen, Tianluo's heart sank, and he said, Faintly, I am. Long Fei suddenly shouted, "Haven't you eaten? Shout louder for lousy." The elder's expression was extremely ugly. He said in a deep voice, "I'm a waste. I'm an idiot. I'm a waste. I'm an idiot." He repeated it 3 times in a row. After he finished speaking, the elder looked at Long Fei and said, "Long Fei, this matter is not over yet." After which, he immediately rose into the air and quickly disappeared. He didn't dare to stay any longer. This was too embarrassing. Long Fei smiled, looked at the elders, and said, "Do I have the right to enter the Tower Question of God with enough points?" Nearly 2,000 points. This result, breaking all history, even Zhan Wushuang's 1,300 points, were firmly stepped on. Those elders didn't dare to say a single word. This score had already surpassed everything and proved everything. If they were to say anything more, it would just be nonsense, and there was no point in it at all. Yixing took a step forward and said faintly, "Right now I will choose Long Fei, Yi Jingyun, and Nangong Yan will pass the examination. From this moment onwards, you will be true disciples of the Tower Question of God, and tomorrow I will bring you into the Tower Question of God." As soon as he finished, Yi Jingyun excitedly jumped up. "Ha ha! I've finally succeeded. I've finally succeeded. Ha ha ha!" Nangong Yan was also crying tears of joy. If it was her alone, it would be very difficult. She looked at Long Fei with incomparable gratitude in her heart. Without Long Fei, every step they took would be even more difficult. She felt that she was relying too much on Long Fei. "Young Master Long, we are now the disciples of the Tower Question of God." We are now the disciples of the Tower Question of God. Yi Jingyun was so excited that he looked like he was about to go berserk. "How cool! In the future, we can do whatever we want. Ha ha! Those girls still don't want to post everything. When they see me, wow, my blissful sexual life is coming. Ha ha ha!" Seeing the two of them being so happy, Long Fei revealed a smile as well. It really wasn't easy. The final test was a comeback. Yixing laughed. "You guys go back and have a good rest. I will report my points to the higher-ups, and tomorrow change into clean clothes and go to the Tower Question of God with me." Long Fei said, "Clan Elder, can we attack the Tower Question of God?" Yixing said, "Of course you can. Every accepted disciple has the qualifications to enter the Tower Question of God. You will know about it after entering the Tower Question of God. However, Long Fei, you really have to change your attitude. The Tower Question of God is much stronger than you can imagine, and the cultivation of the saint in the tower are all much stronger than Great Elder Yen." Yi Jingyun was the first to be shocked and said, "That fierce?" Long Fei's face did not reveal any expression, but his heart was excited. Damn, not only level 1, but 100 levels 1 boss, that is called Tower Question of God, that is called Boss Tower. I am now a semi-realistic realm. It should be able to level up to the God realm. A level 100 boss. Is that enough for me to become a god? Ha ha! Tower Question of God. Just you wait, Lousy is here to mess with you. Long Fei laughed in his heart. Yen Tianluo's experience was shockingly high, so the saint boss on the 100 floor would definitely be even more extraordinary. Just thinking about it made Long Fei extremely excited. This was indeed a Tower Question of God. Long Fei's leveled up to a divine god's tower. Yixing brought Long Fei and the other two people's results back to the Tower Question of God. Inside the god's tower, Temple Question of God. Inside the palace were the saintess of the various gods' tower-s. When they heard that the Yixing had announced Long Fei's points, a few of the saintess immediately stood up and said, "You killed over 1,700 demonic beasts." Yixing nodded his head heavily. "Yes." His score is close to 2,000. He's the first person in history, compared to Zhang Wushuang's score. Before he could finish, one of the saint's voices was forcefully suppressed, and immediately suppressed the Yiseng's voice, and said, "Only he wants to compete with Zhang Wushuang?" Long Fei's grade was higher than Zhang Wushuang's, which made some people unhappy. In the eyes of these Tower Question of God, there was only one Zhang Wushuang, and it had been one for 1,000 years. No one could replace him, and even more so, no one could surpass him. Long Fei, it was simply impossible. Yi Sung was crushed to the point that he was unable to speak. A saint said indifferently, "The points cannot explain everything, but this boy is indeed not simple to be able to kill more than 1,000 demonic beasts. This is considered the highest in history. Maybe a talent. Yi Sung, you bring the 3 of them here." The pressure on Yi Seng's mind finished, and he immediately said, "Disciple will do as you say." And then Yi Sung asked, "Sir, can they come to Impact Sky Tower tomorrow?" "Naturally. Every single disciple who passes the examination have the qualifications to be at Impact Sky Tower." A saint casually said. Yi Sung was secretly happy. He believed that Long Fei would definitely bring about a sensation and surpass Zhang Wushuang. With this joy, he quickly rushed to the assessment board. In the Temple Question of God, a saint said coldly, 5 rounds of examinations is only 120 points. If it wasn't for the last round, he would have been eliminated already. A disciple like that is a speculator. Regarding the matters of the Impact Sky Tower, I feel that it is necessary to inspect them properly. What if he is the disciple of the evil oracle? A saint said, "That can't be. We cannot disqualify any of the disciples from the Impact Sky Tower S. Why not? We can't let the evil oracle's disciples enter this place, right? Long Fei is too murderous, and he is extremely sinister in his heart. Even if such a person is not a disciple of evil oracle, we should at least test him." At this moment, a voice sounded from the great hall and said slightly, "Zhang Wushuang, you've known him for quite some time. Why don't you tell him whether or not you should let his Impact Sky Tower?" Her voice was very calm. However, the entire hall instantly fell silent. Silence. This was because the voice came from the Tower Question of God's Tower Master. It was also at this moment. Zhang Wushuang walked in from outside the great hall, looking at the numerous saintess. He bowed slightly and said, "Greetings, masters." The saintess all smiled. They could even be said to be perfect towards Zhang Wushuang and the rest, especially his talent and potential. Until now, they could not see where the limits of what could be said to be his. Zhang Wushuang said slightly, "I don't know if he is a disciple of the evil oracle, but I know that he has the power of a Azura inside him. I know that he was once a lowly slave in the beast battling arena. I know that he escaped the judgment of destiny. And I also know that his father was a disciple of the evil oracle." Chapter 1483. Entering the Tower Question of God. Chapter 1483. Entering the Tower Question of God. Yong, Master Long, tomorrow we will be able to enter Impact Sky Tower. I heard that there is a saint on every floor of the God's Tower. They can point out your inadequacies. After 100 floors, our cultivation can be said to have reached the strongest peak realm in one chaos realm. Yi Jingyan was excited. Ever since he returned from the martial arts practice grounds, he had been like this, incomparably excited. Nangong, Yen said, "Aren't you thinking a little too simply? Impact Sky Tower can indeed help the martial arts training, but have you thought about it yet? The God's Tower S and Saint S on every floor are all super powerhouse." Long Fei was curious. "Aren't you getting a little too excited?" Yi Jingyan scratched his head, saying, "I'm not afraid of you making fun of me. My dream is to become an Impact Sky Tower." The moment my father handed the volume question of God over to me, in my heart, I imagined what kind of scene it would be when I charge into the tower question of God. My dream will come true. Young Master Long, I have to thank you for all of this. Long Fei laughed. This is all exchanged with your own hard work. Long Fei had indeed helped a lot, but if Yi Jingyun didn't work hard, he wouldn't be where he was now. Yi Jingyun gave a silly smile and said, Young Master Long, what is your dream? Nangong Yin also looked at Long Fei seriously. Dream? Long Fei was startled for a moment, then said slightly, We will never be bullied. Let's say this is a dream to forever protect the people by our side. As he spoke, he glanced at Nangong Yin. Yi Jingyun was startled, then said, Young Master Long, then your dream is too strong, and that is the strongest king. There are divinity, ancient holy battlefield, and above the bastard world, there is also main temple, and even more so, heaven. Don't tell me your dream is to smash the heavens? Ha ha ha. Yi Jingyun said so much that even he himself began to laugh. He was joking. However, Long Fei said in a serious tone, Why not? Yi Jingyun was stunned. Nangong Yen was also stunned. Who dared to stop him? The sky was the same as the one he was going to destroy. When he was in God's martial continent, he was crushed by the envoys. And when he was in Chaos Realm, he was able to remember all of it. It was not that he did not report it. It was just that time was not up yet. All three of them had dreams of their own. They chatted late into the night. Early morning, Iseng woke them up. Today was an important day. In the Iseng's heart, this was the most important day for Long Fei and the other two. After today, they were going to start the Impact Sky Tower. He might even be able to break through the 100 floors and enter the ancient holy battlefield. It would bring honor to the Chaos Realm. All of you must remember, do not be too presumptuous like in the assessment department. You must first think of what you can say and what you cannot say. Do not speak without restraint. The Iseng reminded again and said, especially you, Long Fei, since Temple Cushion of God is a group of holy saint, they wouldn't joke around with you. Remember, don't mess around. Iseng was really afraid that Long Fei would start a fight again if he disagreed with what he just said. This was the Temple Cushion of God, the place where the saints gathered. It was a place where even ordinary elders did not have the right to enter, and it was only because he was an examiner that he was lucky to enter. Otherwise, he would not have had the chance in his life. Long Fei nodded his head. We will remember. All right, follow me. Iseng slightly moved. The qi on his body burst out and flew into the sky. Long Fei and the other two followed closely behind. Long Fei thought, looks like the tower question of God is indeed in the sky. Yi Jingyun said excitedly, Clan Elder, are the gods' tower in the air? Iseng smiled. You will know soon enough. 10 minutes later, Iseng formed a seal with his fingers, activated Holy Source, and released a ray of light that shot into the sky. Next, a series of thick stone doors opened. In the sky, a massive stone door opened up. This stone door seemed as if the heavens had opened up. It stood between the heavens and earth, incomparably formidable. Long Fei was completely shocked by what he saw. Yi Jingyun was immediately struck dumb and said, Wow, this is a bit too cool, isn't it? Sky Gate, Sky Gate. The tower question of God was reputed as the most mysterious place in the Chaos Realm, so very few people knew of his location. Moreover, this place was also known as the Divine Land, one of the paths to becoming a god. This place was heaven for all martial practitioners, and it was also a shortcut for them. Countless people squeezed their way through to this place, wanting to break through their skin and become a god. Other than Tower Question of Goddess, there were also many others here. And there was also the divine path. To be able to train in divine power, to be able to condense a divine spark into its elementary form. If he was able to obtain a chance bestowed upon him by God, he might even be able to transcend mortality and become a deity. It's always possible here. Nangong Yan's face was also filled with shock as he asked, "Elder, what was that imprint you had just now?" Yi Sung laughed blandly. "That is the mark of the sky gate's gate of opening. At that time, someone will teach you." Yi Jingyun said, "Can we train with this imprint too?" The Yi Sung replied, "Of course you can. Any disciple can train with it." Wow, I can imagine it, but if I go back to the skyscraper city in the future, wouldn't that mean I'd be able to mesmerize those beauties in the city to death? Ha ha ha. Yi Jingyun excitedly laughed out loud. Yi Sung was slightly startled and said, "We went in." 4 voices flew into the sky gate. Next, the sky gate was closed. A painting scroll opened by Long Fei, and the others was like a world of immortals surrounded by immortal clouds and cascading down from the sky. The immortal mountain floated in the air. The various buildings and pavilions on the immortal mountain were all extremely dazzling, causing one to be unable to take their eyes off them. "Look," Yi Jingyun suddenly exclaimed. He pointed towards the depths of the clouds, where a gigantic square golden pagoda appeared in midair, stretching from the peak of the pagoda into the depths of the sky, where one could not see the end of it. The body of the tower was glowing with a golden light. It made people feel endless divine power. Tower question of God. Is that the tower question of God? Yi Jingyun trembled in excitement. He felt that he was only one step away from his dream. Yi Sung laughed. "That's right, that is a tower question of God." Long Fei looked over, and it gave him a different feeling. His eyes lit up. "Wow, what the hell? Is this a super great holy artifact?" The Sleeping Beauty also suddenly said, "This tower question of God was created by the God of its own accord. Main artifact." Long Fei's heart trembled, and his blood boiled. The Sleeping Beauty giggled. "Although you can't reach the level of main artifact, it's more or less the same, but it's a little difficult for you to get hold of him. Who cares about the difficulty? As long as I, Long Fei, see something, it's mine." Long Fei laughed sinisterly. "Main artifact. He can let go." Long Fei was never afraid of too many good things. Just as the 3 of them were in the midst of the majestic and powerful tower question of God's scene, a golden-armored elder descended and shouted, "Who is it?" The Yi Sung bowed slightly and said respectfully, "He is this year's new disciple." Golden Armor Elder disdainfully said, "So it's these 3 pieces of trash." Chapter 1484. Low Level. Chapter 1484. Low Level immediately. Long Fei was unhappy. Yi Jingyun immediately shouted out, "Asterisk, who are you calling a trash?" Yi Seng's face tightened for a moment as he pulled Yi Jingyun back, and immediately apologized. "Master, the new entrance is open. I do not know the rules. Please forgive me." Golden Armor Elder snorted, pointed at Yi Jingyun's nose, and said, "I said you're trash. What about it? You have to admit that you're a piece of trash. Do you understand? Little bastard." When he said this, Golden Armor Elder kept looking at Long Fei. The muscles in the corner of Long Fei's eyes twitched, and at this moment, he roared out, "God's war beasts! Rumble!" The God's war beasts was summoned. Without waiting for Long Fei's orders, the God's hammer in the God's war beasts' hands suddenly moved. "Who the hell do you think you are, daring to speak to my boss like that?" Rumble! A hammer blow descended. The Golden Armor Elder didn't have time to react, and was sent flying thousands of kilometers away. Arrogant? I have never seen anyone that was so arrogant. The God's war beasts carried the God's hammer on its shoulder, and humphed coldly. "Old fart, you're courting death." Long Fei smiled slightly and said, Keep a low profile, keep a low profile. You call this keeping a low profile? Ising shouted and said, "What did I tell you to restrain yourself? Endure it a little. Now, to send an elder flying without a word, do you still want to go to Impact Sky Tower?" Remind Long Fei that he still had half an hour before he would be able to blow a golden armor elder away the moment he enters the fairyland of Tower Question of God. The gods war beasts pointed her finger fiercely at Yi Sung and said, "Be careful when you speak to my boss." It was very domineering. Long Fei yelled and said, "This is my friend. Can I call you to be a little more low-key?" The gods war beasts scratched its head and carried the hammer back to its shoulder. Long Fei said, "Clan Elder, you heard what he said. It's not that I want to attack. It's that he likes to be lowly, to immediately attack that useless trash. This kind of person is asking to be taken care of." Yi Jingyan said, "Young Master Long, it feels great. So what if your golden armor bodyguard? Old fart. If you don't do it, then I'm going to do it." Yi Jingyan also had a face full of unhappiness. He was sent flying with a single word. Yi Sung felt his scalp go numb. "I don't care about you guys. Hurry up and report to Temple Question of God. After everything is done, we can enter the Tower Question of God as soon as possible. As long as you can break through the 20th step, no one will dare to underestimate you." Yi Sung did not stop. Once that golden armor bodyguard returns, he will definitely not let this matter rest. In the fairyland of Tower Question of God, not everyone could offend the golden armor army. They were the reserve army of the ancient holy battlefield. Long Fei recalled the gods' war beasts back into the war pet space. The gods' war beasts' face was filled with unwillingness as it said, "Boss, since you've already come out, you let me play a little more. You're suffocating me to death while staying in the war pet space." Long Fei said, "I called out. I didn't tell you to blow him away so that you could keep a low profile. You better behave." The idea moved, and the gods war beasts entered the war pet space. Beast control hall. Something terrible has happened. Things are not going well. What's all this fuss about? Great Clan Elder. That brat, he really came, and he even tamed the gods war beasts, sending a golden armor bodyguard flying the moment he appeared. The thing that we promised that fellow. He could freely enter the Rift Soul Pass, to be able to freely communicate with Beast King Question of God. When the great Clan Elder of the Beast Control Hall heard about this, he was completely stunned. How is this possible? What did you just say? Did he tame the gods' war beasts? That is the ancient holy battlefield's war beast. How can he tame it? No way. Absolutely not. We have to get the gods' war beasts back. Compared to its potential, the gods' war beasts is much stronger. We can't just give it to him like this. Grand Elder, what do we do now? Go to Temple Question of God. Law Enforcement Hall. Little bastard, you've finally come. This old man has been waiting for you for a long time. Great Elder, the death of the 4 great guards is a great insult to our Law Enforcement Hall. Although I don't know why the Tower Lord wouldn't let us touch that brat, but we absolutely cannot let him live an easy life. To the Temple Question of God. The elder, who had been humiliated by Long Fei and called himself a fool the day before, also had a face full of anger as he said in a heavy tone, "You dog, now that you have entered the Tower Question of God, you have come to my territory. Just you wait. See how I'll repay you. Go to Temple Question of God." In another place, Zhan Wushuang's residence, the 2 Saints said slightly, "Young master, in your opinion, we cannot allow him to enter the Tower Question of God." The 2 Saints were from the 9 secret warrior family. However, their identities were unknown. Zhan Wushuang smiled blandly. "No, he cannot have any chance at all to enter Impact Sky Tower. Also, I want him to not be able to survive in the tower question of God. The two saints nodded and said, "Understood." Zhan Wushuang said, "You all do not need to intervene excessively. Do not expose yourselves. The things I said in front of the Tower Master yesterday was enough to stop Long Fei." "Understood." The two saints silently withdrew. Then Zhan Wushuang's mouth revealed a sneer of disdain and said, "Long Fei, how can you fight with me? This tower question of God is full of my people. Now, even the tower question of God's Tower Master is on my side. Let's see what kind of tricks you can come up with." Ha ha ha. As long as Lear breaks through the tower question of God and enters the ancient holy battlefield, I will become a god. Ha ha ha. Zhan Wushuang was wild with excitement. A rumble. A loud sound came from inside the god's tower. The 65th floor of the god's tower had been destroyed. Xianyuan Li slightly bowed and said, "Thank you, Saint, for your teachings." Saint waved his hand and said, "Go." Xianyuan Li didn't hesitate to step into the 67th floor of the god's tower. There's still the 33rd floor, Big Brother Long Fei. Wait for me. A temple question of God. Hearing the loud noise from the tower question of God, a few saints became excited. The 67th floor. Xianyuan Li has prepared himself well. His speed is getting faster and faster. Seems like we will have 2 disciples that can enter the ancient holy battlefield. Ha! It was also at this time Yi Sung brought Long Fei and the other 2 into the shrine. The Yi Sung bowed and said, "Greetings, Holy Saint. The 3 examination disciples have arrived." Voices in the hall were discussing animatedly. They were all talking about other things and did not take Long Fei and the others seriously. Yi Sung spoke a few sentences consecutively, but no one paid any attention to him. Half an hour passed. They merely left Long Fei and the other 2 people there, not caring about anything at all. Yi Jingyun grinned and said, "Damn, what do you mean?" Long Fei looked at Yi Sung and then sneered. Is the tower question of God really like this? Chapter 1485. The Suppression of the 4 Great Saints. Chapter 1485. The suppression of the 4 great saints. If you make me unhappy, I'll make you unhappy. Who cares what kind of tower question of God they were, or what kind of dog's hit Holy Lord they were all the same. Long Fei had this kind of personality. With that, the entire audience turned quiet as they looked at Long Fei. 8 black lines hung on Yi Seng's forehead as he thought bitterly in his heart, "We're finished, we're finished. Why is it that this kid doesn't listen? To dare to openly insult the tower question of God in the temple question of God. Isn't this courting death?" This kind of words would probably only come out of Long Fei's mouth. Suddenly, a deep voice sounded out, "Insolence!" One of the saints raised his eyes. A gleam flashed across his eyes. The light turned into pressure, and with a boom, it smashed into Long Fei's sea of consciousness. Buzz. Long Fei's sea of consciousness shook. He was unable to endure it. His body couldn't help but tremble as he felt extremely uncomfortable. The cultivation level of the saint was too strong, so strong that he was unable to contend against it right now. Long Fei's personality was one of absolutely not yielding. Even though he had been crushed, he still spoke forcefully. Could it be that I spoke wrongly? What's the point of calling us over and leaving us here? Against me? Since that's the case, why shouldn't I scold him? Endured it for a minute. He endured it even after 10 minutes, not saying a word for half an hour. He was constantly discussing matters that had nothing to do with him. What was this? This was called ignoring his existence. Humph! A cold sweat broke out, and the other saint's pressure faintly moved. Boom! Another wave of pressure pressed down on Long Fei's sea of consciousness. Do you think you have the right to speak in this divine hall? Buzz. Long Fei's sea of consciousness stirred. His entire body was unable to endure it. His body trembled violently. However, Long Fei remained calm after changing and said solemnly, "Then why did you call me over? Why bother? Do you want to see me make a fool of myself? Then come." The imposing pressure of the two Saint-S were like two gigantic mountains as they pressed down on Long Fei's mind, causing him to feel as if his entire head was about to fall down. TL. The pressure caused him to be unable to breathe. Moreover, his waist was bending and his knees were bending. Long Fei seemed to be unable to endure it. His cultivation was stronger than Long Fei, but Long Fei had no way to surpass him. And this kind of pressure was equivalent to being crushed by someone with a higher cultivation level. His head could not even listen to him. The feeling of being about to explode almost made Long Fei go berserk. At this moment, the third saint suddenly moved and shouted solemnly, "Kneel before me as a new disciple who has come to the divine hall." His voice sank. Rumble! The imposing aura was like a ferocious beast that had suddenly rushed out and directly smashed into Long Fei's sea of consciousness like a thunderous strike, the coercion of three Saint-S. How powerful was this? How could a new disciple possibly block it? Even though Long Fei's cultivation had reached the semi-realistic realm, he was still unable to block it. The cultivation level of the saint was far above him. When the three Saint-S attacked at the same time, he found it even more unbearable. Long Fei's mind was trembling, and his entire body was scarlet red, as if it was a red-hot iron that was painfully supporting himself. He couldn't bear it, but Long Fei gritted his teeth as he endured it with all his might. At the same time, he stared at the three Saint-S and remembered their appearances. Hiss! Long Fei took a deep breath and said, "I, Long Fei, do not bow to the heavens, nor do I kneel to the earth." He just wouldn't kneel. This was the will of the people of Long family. Humph! Is that so? Another saint laughed in disdain and said, "I shall see how expensive your knees are. Kneel down." Rumble! Another loud sound rang out, and another wave of intimidating pressure came crushing down. The fourth wave of pressure. Long Fei's scarlet-red face was drenched in sweat, and his entire body was drenched in sweat. His flesh was also trembling nonstop, and he was on the verge of collapsing. Yiseng panicked a little and immediately kneeled down and said, "Holy Saint, Long Fei doesn't know the rules. I apologize to the lords on his behalf. Please forgive him." Boom! What are you? You even have the qualifications to kneel on behalf of others. One of the Saint-S sneered. With a sweep of his right hand, a strong wind directly blew the Yiseng away. The cultivation of the Yiseng could not withstand it at all. It was too late to do anything. He was directly sent flying and slammed into the door. A golden light burst out from the door, and his body landed heavily on the ground, spitting out a mouthful of blood. His face turned extremely pale. Yi Jingyun threw caution to the wind and said heavily, "You've gone too far." Boom! He directly went forward to support Long Fei and shouted, "You dregs, what tower question of goddess do you have face? Why don't you take a piss out of yourselves?" The pressure from the four of them could crush a new disciple. Your skin is really thicker than a tower question of gods. Nangong Yin also stepped forward to support Long Fei and said, "This is a tower question of God. Laughable. Extremely ridiculous. Ha ha. For people crushing a new budding disciple, it was indeed disgraceful to spread such news." The faces of the four Saint-S also darkened. One of the saint's eyes turned sinister. He coldly snorted, Since you all stood up for him, then let's bear it together. Boom, boom. Several explosions sounded in succession. Long Fei's arms trembled as he yelled, "Get out of the way! So what if the pressure of the four great saintess? I can take it." Boom. When the power in his body exploded, both of his feet heavily shook, causing the floor to crack. He then stuck both of his legs into the ground, raised his eyes, and said, "Come on. You want me to kneel? You are not worthy." With both knees digging into the ground, even if his waist was broken, Long Fei would not kneel. He wouldn't kneel even if he died. The faces of the four saintesses were also extremely ugly. They did not expect that Long Fei was so strong that the four great coercion fighters simply could not withstand it. Yet he was able to persist for such a long period of time. Moreover, he did not kneel. He had to say it. This mental state caused many saints to be slightly shocked. Even when facing any kind of pressure, a powerful force would not yield. Wasn't this kind of spirit what they were looking for? However, Long Fei was too arrogant. This kind of personality was really bad. The four saintesses were enraged. "Not kneel. Let's see how long you can last." A saint shouted. Buzz. The four of them looked at each other and exerted their strength at the same time. The pressure on the four great saintesses suddenly retracted, and it seemed as if Long Fei's sea of consciousness had instantly become empty, before instantly crashing down like a thunderbolt. This feeling, it was 100 times worse than death. It was also at this time, a voice rang out, "Enough." Chapter 1486, Retesting. Chapter 1486, Retesting. Boom. As his voice fell, a surge of power blocked the might and pressure of the four great saintesses. Then, an old man stood beside Long Fei. Everyone in the hall suddenly stood up, not daring to have the slightest bit of disrespect. The old man looked at Long Fei and asked, "Are you all right?" Long Fei's vital energy and blood tumbled below his chest. He wanted to spit out a mouthful of fresh blood, but he forcibly swallowed it back and forcibly said, "I'm fine. The pressure of the four great saintesses is also only this much." The expressions of the four great saintesses turned sinister and became extremely ugly. "Kid, how dare you be so arrogant?" One of the saints' chief faintly moved and immediately erupted. It was also at this time. The clan elder next to Long Fei bellowed, "Aren't you ashamed enough?" The sound directly crushed the aura of power. The faces of the four saintesses darkened, and they did not dare say another word. The old man laughed lightly and said, "Long Fei, don't be angry. We heard that you broke the examination record to see how strong you are. It really is extraordinary." Long Fei laughed coldly. "You dare?" The elder did not hide anything and said, "You can say that." Long Fei said, "I have let you down. I was not scared. And I also realized the power of the four great saintesses. And what's more, what's his appearance?" The word looks was especially harsh. Obviously, the four of them were already on his death list. Don't give him a chance. If he finds a chance, they will definitely defeat him. Long Fei's tone carried an undisguised threat. The meaning was obvious. Your father will remember you. Just you wait. The four saintesses were not fools. How could they not understand? However, no one paid any attention to Long Fei. One person's might represented a person's strength. If the pressure could crush Long Fei, then their strength. Any one of them could kill Long Fei. They had cold smiles on their faces. One of the saints said, "Look carefully at our faces. Otherwise, you will die under someone's hands." The old man slightly shouted, "Enough!" The entire palace went silent. That elder walked forward and said, "I originally planned to give you guys the crowning day, but it seems that I have come a bit too late." All right. Yi Jingyun, are you willing to go to Impact Sky Tower? As soon as he finished, Yi Jingyun's eyes released a gold light and said, I am willing. My goal here is for the Impact Sky Tower. His dream was about to come true, and he was extremely excited. That elder faintly said, Very good. And then, he looked at Nangong Yen and said, Nangong Yen, are you willing to go to Impact Sky Tower? Nangong Yen was also very excited in his heart. He nodded and said, Disciple is willing. All right, left, right guard, send them to the Tower Question of God. With that said, 2 golden armored guards walked in from outside the Tower Question of God. One of them walked to Yi Jingyun and said, Follow me. Golden armored guard. Long Fei's heart sank a little. Yi Jingyun didn't think too much about it. Instead, he looked at the clan elder and said, Elder, we will go together with the young Master Long. The 3 of us will enter the Tower Question of God. If the 3 of them pass the examination together, then it should be the same time that the 3 of them enter the Tower Question of God. Moreover, Long Fei still passed the examination with the result of first place. However, the elder looked at Long Fei and said gently, Him. Nangong Yen said, Isn't there a reward for being first in the assessment? Is Long Fei going to get any rewards? Elder smiled. Yes, there is a reward for him. You guys go first. The elder looked at the 2 golden armored guards. The golden armored guard said again, Follow me. Yi Jingyun said excitedly, Young Master Long, we will be leaving first. We will wait for you at the Tower Question of God. He looked excited. However, an ominous premonition rose in Long Fei's heart as he turned around and said to Yi Jingyun via sound transmission, You guys be careful. Nangong Yen, be careful of the golden armor guards around you. The expressions of the 2 shook, and their eyebrows creased slightly. However, they did not show any great reaction. Instead, their faces were still filled with excitement and shock. After the 2 of them left, everyone in the divine clearing hall looked at Long Fei. Everyone had a teasing expression. Long Fei knew that there were not many good things, but he still asked, Clan Elder, what are the rewards? Puchi, a saint, suddenly burst out laughing. Immediately, ha ha ha, ha ha ha, ha ha ha. The many elders and saintess all laughed out loud, as if mocking Long Fei for being an idiot. One of the saint asked, Reward? You're the only one with a reward like this. Do you want a pile of sh*T as a reward? Ha ha ha. Brat, you're thinking too much. Ha ha ha. I've never wanted to laugh like this in my life. I actually want a reward. You killed an elder of a Tower Question of God, and even challenged the authority of a Tower Question of God. You dare to be so impudent in this Temple Question of God. Do you think that someone like you has the qualifications to receive the Tower Question of God's rewards? Brat, did you not wake up from your sleep? They were all laughing at him, one by one. At this moment, Long Fei was just like a clown. This feeling made him extremely unhappy. The elder pressed his hands together, and his voice became heavy. The hall quickly quietened, and he said faintly, Long Fei, in view of the slaughter that you have caused during the assessment, the Tower Question of God have unanimously decided to re-examine you. What do you mean? Retest. Long Fei suppressed the anger in his heart. Why don't others want it? You want me to retest it? I would like to ask, has Zhan Wushuang been retested? Not fair. Humph. Brat, you think you can compete with Zhan Wushuang? Who do you think you are? You don't even qualify to carry his shoes, do you? You don't even have the qualifications to say the 3 words, Zhan Wushuang. Zhan Wushuang was a perfect warrior in their hearts. He was someone who could definitely bring glory to the tower question of God, a treasure in their hearts, something they could only compare to Long Fei. The elder looked displeased. You are too murderous. We suspect that you are an evil apostle. Us tower question of God will not allow any evil spirits to appear. Just because of this. Long Fei did not believe that at all and said coldly, What if I don't agree to the test? The elder said, If you don't agree, then that means you are a demon apostle. Then you won't be able to leave temple question of God today. Everyone in the hall was staring at Long Fei. Just as he said, if Long Fei rejected, he would never be able to leave this place. Just like walking through a supermarket alone. He was dragged into the security room for a simple reason. He suspected that he had stolen something. Take off your clothes and check. Not taking it off. I beat you half to death. Long Fei was unhappy, extremely unhappy, looking at those disdainful and mocking faces within the temple question of God. He coldly said, You want me to retake the test? Ha ha. I don't agree. You want to kill me? Sure. Then come to me. Chapter 1487. Heaven-Defying Holy Artifact. Chapter 1487. Heaven-Defying Holy Artifact. If he really got angry, Long Fei would throw caution to the wind. He had always been someone who would take advantage of the situation. If you want to be tough, I'm stronger than you. He had obviously passed the examination with the first place of results, yet now he was going to retake the examination. What was this? This was an insult. Long Fei was very unhappy. The temple question of God did indeed have the answer he was looking for, and it could even be said that he had no choice but to go to the tower question of God. That time when he had interacted with the Yen Huang ancestor, he had also allowed himself to enter the tower question of God. However, Long Fei was someone who could do anything. Facing such an insult, he would definitely not kneel down and lick his lips. Retest? That won't do. Long Fei's forceful attitude made quite a few elders reveal a sneer of contempt. He was courting death. This is better. If he were to just kill them, there would be no need for him to go through all the trouble. The elder said slightly, Long Fei, you had better consider this carefully. Don't let go of ancient hatred. When the time comes, there will be no medicine for regret. One of the saints said, Master, he has already made his choice. His refusal to examine us means that he is the demon apostle. We must not let him go. Yes, such a person who loves to kill must be full of evil. Even if he is not the demon apostle, the tower question of God cannot nurture such a person. The record says that he was invaded by demons in the Punish Evil Secret territory. This kind of person is definitely a demon apostle. We cannot let him go. All of them were eyeing Long Fei covetously. When he was at the assessment department, he had already tested that Long Fei did not have any evil qi, and now he had come again. They just wanted him dead. Long Fei laughed coldly. What are you talking about? Why are you flying around like that? Come on, kill me if you want. He just couldn't accept it. He definitely wasn't scared. The elder's eyes revealed a trace of joy. I'll ask you again, do you really not agree? Long Fei said, Don't use all of those useless things. If you have any moves, just use them all. I really do not put you lot in my eyes. His mind stirred. The god's hammer in the god's war beast's hand buzzed loudly. Boss, my war hammer is unable to endure the thirst. At this moment, in the heavenly court, the powerhouse-s of the infernal realm were all accumulating power. They could feel Long Fei's anger at any moment. Tower question of Goddess, one of the strongest powers in Chaos Realm. Let's see who is the strongest. Brat, you're courting death. Boom. With a furious roar, a mighty pressure crushed the other party. Long Fei's eyes turned sinister. Damn it! This old man shall see who is F*** King Court Death. Buzz. the power of the semi-realistic realm burst forth. Opening his right hand, the sword of destroy combusted, and the Yang God authentic artifact's power was also released crazily. At this moment, the atmosphere was tense and filled with a frenzied fire. At the same time, buzz! A token fell from the sky and landed heavily in the main hall. Everyone's face changed. Even that elder's face sank as everyone knelt down. Greetings, Tower Master. Buzz! A white figure floated down, like an ethereal fairy descending to the mortal world. Outside the shrine, a woman stood there, looking at Long Fei and smiling faintly. Long Fei was shocked. Big Sister Fairy, Wang Shirshir. Last time when the second clan elder said that she had been suppressed, Long Fei was still thinking of how to save her. The many elders of the hall were slightly startled. Wang Shirshir was obviously locked up. Why was he out now? Moreover, how could she have a pass of God? This was the command token that the Tower Lord had. Wang Shirshir walked into the hall and said in a low voice, Long Fei, just accept the test. Long Fei said, Big Sister Fairy, this is obviously targeting me. Even if I pass the examination, they will still make things extremely difficult for me. In the end, they still want to cut me off. I only save on the complicated procedures and start directly, no need to go in circles. Just as Long Fei was talking, Wang Shirshir sent a sound transmission to the inside of Long Fei's mind. This divine awareness token was given to me by your father. He wanted you to undergo the examination so that you must enter the tower question of God. Long Fei's mind trembled. It was Wang Shirshir who had told him that his father was at the tower question of God. If he wanted to find his father, he would have to enter the tower question of God. And now he would also have to find his father. However, was the father that Wang Shirshir was talking about the father of this body, or was it Long Zhanting? Long Fei frowned. The anger in his heart was slightly suppressed. He turned around and looked at the elders and said, All right, I will undergo the test. Wang Shirshir heaved a sigh of relief. The expressions of those elders changed slightly. He was slightly displeased. Originally, he could have suppressed Long Fei. Now, the elder then stood up and said lightly, All right, let's start the test now. Someone come. Bring the black stone up. Not long after, an oracle took out a piece of black stone, and in that instant, Long Fei's eyes lit up. The black stone shone with a dark golden light. Dense black. What is this? This was a heaven-defying treasure. To others, this was just like a piece of testing black stone. There was nothing special about it, but to Long Fei, it was a testament to being a heaven-defying holy artifact. It had to be known that his devourer's vein had consecutively soared to level 20 just because he had swallowed the Yuanyang clan to test for black stone. This is the detection black stone in the fairyland of Tower Question of God. The disciples and warriors that used it to test were all peerless geniuses, the geniuses amongst geniuses. Their blood vein S were basically all holy vein S. Moreover, this examination black stone has been here since the birth of the Tower Question of God. How many powerhouse have it been used to test? Several tens of millions or even hundreds of millions of years of accumulation had passed. Its energy was already far beyond anyone's imagination. If all of the blood essence was completely swallowed up, what would that be like? Wow! In this instant, Long Fei gulped down a mouthful of saliva, secretly rejoicing in his heart. Fortunately, I agreed to take the test, or else I really would have missed out on this heaven-defying holy artifact. Calm down. Calm down. Long Fei, you have to remain calm. He really was unable to control himself, because the thick black gold light almost made Long Fei unable to hold back his laughter. This is AF asterisk king treasure given to me? To think that there would be such a great thing in this world. Just Thinking about it feels like a dream. Last time, the blood veins level rose by 20 levels. This time, how far could he go? At least it's the tempo of flying into the sky, right? Long Fei suppressed the excitement in his heart and pretended to be calm as he walked forward. The elder said lightly, "Drip your blood essence up." Long Fei condensed a drop of blood essence and slowly pressed his palm against it. He said in his heart, Come on, let this daddy's blood vein level go up." The black stone absorbed Long Fei's blood essence. And then the black stone had no reaction. But at this moment, Long Fei's mind exploded. The system beep was going crazy. Ding. Chapter 1488, Undying Blood Clan, Power of Blood God. Chapter 1488, Undying Blood Clan, Power of Blood God the Devourer's Vein, was activated. The blood essence within the black stone was frantically being absorbed, and Long Fei's palm, which was pressed against the black stone, couldn't help but tremble. Wung, wung, wung. Long Fei's body kept on buzzing. Ding. Ding, ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for raising his blood vein to level 32. Congratulations to player Long Fei for raising his blood vein to level 33. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Current level 34. The system beep crazily exploded. Long Fei's face also flickered with red light. The surrounding saint and elders were all confused by his red light. What's going on? What is he doing? I told him to drip a drop of blood essence. How did his entire body become like this? Something wrong. They looked at Long Fei with their mouths agape. They had never seen this kind of situation before. Was he trying to kill himself? Wang Shishir also had a face full of worry. There were several times when the sound transmission was blocked by the energy that erupted from Long Fei's body. At this time, a saint walked up and asked, "Long Fei, what the hell are you doing? Move your hand away. Let's see what rank and attribute your blood vein is." Long Fei pressed his palm against the black stone so that he wouldn't be able to see anything, obstructing detection. Long Fei was currently in the midst of spitting out blood vein S and surging power in a state where he was unable to extricate himself. At this time, he had made a very satisfying claim. When the elder saw Long Fei ignoring him, he was slightly angered and took a step forward. "Long Fei, I'm talking to you. Don't you hear me?" He completely ignored them. It was as if his eardrums were about to explode. The system beep frantically rang. How could they hear what he was saying? Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Current level 43. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Current level 44. The level of Devourer's vein continued to soar. The elder became even angrier as his eyes turned sinister. He shouted in a deep voice, "Brat, you are too presumptuous." Yi Zichen slapped him heavily. It was fast and powerful. Wang Shishir simply could not react in time and could only cry out, "Long Fei, watch out." Long Fei simply did not hear it. Furthermore, he did not have time to react. Seeing that Elder's palm had struck down, his idea moved slightly, and a red light flashed out from within the blood vein. Buzz. A palm slammed down. Boom. A loud sound rang out, and the divine clearing hall trembled slightly. Many elders and saintess revealed a disdainful sneer, and thought to themselves, "Long Fei is dead for sure this time. It's definitely over. Ha ha ha. See if he still dares to be arrogant." With the attack at such a close distance, Long Fei had no time to defend at all. With a palm strike on his chest, it could be said that his chest would at least split open. However, A strange scene happened. Long Fei stood where he was, unscathed, but the elder still flew out of the temple cushion of God like a kite with its string cut. He flew to a large tree 100 meters away from the palace and hung on it. Everyone in the hall was shocked. What kind of power was it? How dare you, in the temple cushion of God, actually make a move on an elder? Brat, you're tired of living. As soon as he finished, another elder hacked out. Bam! A loud sound echoed out. Another elder mysteriously flew out. This time, it was even more miserable. He directly smashed into the ground like a dead dog, unconscious. Wasn't that too terrifying? Although the cultivation of these elders was not as high as those Saints, they were still peak powerhouse-s. Now, unexpectedly, it was directly repelled by the power of Long Fei's body. Moreover, Long Fei didn't try to defend himself at all. It was a power that he subconsciously reacted to. This kind of power was too strange, and at the same time, too terrifying. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Current level, 51. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for raising his blood vein to level 52. The blood vein's voice continued to echo in the air. Long Fei's suckstar over China was still crazily devouring the blood essence within the black stone. It had to be said that the blood essence that the black stone had absorbed over the past tens of millions of years was simply too thick and powerful, and it was also what shocked Long Fei was that there were no lack of spirited blood vein among the blood. This kind of blood vein would simply be heaven-defying to Long Fei's devourer's vein. Too awesome. Tens of millions of years of accumulation. This piece of black stone was about to turn into a spirit. However, meeting Long Fei, he absorbed all of the blood essence within the black stone, and the dark golden light also slowly faded. Ding, ding, ding. The last system announcement rang out. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for raising his blood vein to level 80. F***CK. Long Fei was so excited that he blurted out a few words, instantly rising to level 50. This daddy wants to ask, who else is there? Who else? His blood was boiling, and he was laughing maniacally in his heart. In less than a minute, the blood vein's level increase was already at level 50. What kind of concept was this? It was simply as strong as an explosion. Just when Long Fei was excited. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. The strength of the Devourer's vein burst forth, and it received a special reward. The reward is Power of Blood God. Power of Blood God? What is this? Long Fei immediately opened up the system to check. Strength. Power of Blood God type. Cultivation technique grade. Super God consumption. 1 million holy source description. Power of Blood God. The power of the Devourer's veins essence. Once activated, it will enter the rampage state, obtaining a raging battle chi. Furthermore, it will possess the immortal Blood God's body for a fixed period of time. Description 2. The power of Blood God is derived from the blood ancestor. Not die. Strigoi. Damn it, this is so freaking crazy. Long Fei's heart secretly stirred, and he immediately said, cultivate. There was a new cultivation technique in the cultivation technique column. This cultivation technique was the blood veins stimulation method, the undying blood race. Ha ha ha. Long Fei laughed crazily in his heart. The blood vein had risen to level 50 and had received the Blood Clan Divine Art. This power was simply too great. Moreover, the blood vein was still 20 levels away from the Great Perfection stage. At that time, what kind of power would it unleash? What a powerful lightning bolt. Wang Shishir walked to Long Fei's side and said, Long Fei, Long Fei, Long Fei. Hearing Wang Shirshi's voice, Long Fei quickly recovered, then turned his right hand loose slightly and looked at the surrounding people, who looked at him in astonishment. He was stunned for a moment and then said, "What's wrong?" It was also at this time. A black light flashed. The elder said slightly, "The blood vein's innate talent is low." Chapter 1489. Punish Evil Mirror. Chapter 1489. Punish Evil Mirror. The blood vein's innate talent is low. As soon as his voice faded, the crowd burst into laughter. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. I knew this kid didn't have the talent of a blood vein. Someone like him is just a piece of trash. You don't even have the talent to become a blood vein. Even if you do, you won't even be able to step a step up. The blood vein's inherent skills were extremely important. It was the standard for the selection of disciples in almost all sections. The same goes for Tower Question of God. Long Fei's blood vein inherent skill was low. The weak red light that everyone saw was because of the scene of Long Fei's last bit of blood essence burning. In about a minute, if the light of his blood essence was released through the black stone, the entire hall would probably be lit up like a searchlight. Long Fei smirked. The blood vein's innate talent is low. He didn't take it to heart. Seeing their ridicule, Long Fei couldn't help but laugh, thinking that these people were really funny. Wang Shirshe frowned. He took a step forward and asked, "What's going on?" Long Fei replied, "Nothing. No matter what talent blood vein, I have just passed the examination." The elder said, "I did not say that you did not pass the examination. The blood vein examination is only one of them. What's next is to check your veins, pubes, sea of consciousness, mind. These four were also the most basic potential of a martial artist." Long Fei frowned slightly and said, "There's no need to examine these four. My veins are congested, and my pubes is broken. As for my mind, my sea of consciousness is only SOSO. Yo, brat, you still know your own limitations? How could he actually know that his tendons and arteries were clogged up and that the pubes were damaged? Then you still have the face to stay here?" An elder mocked. "Exactly. If you want to be born with no talent, and if you want to be born with no potential, why should we let you enter the Tower Question of God? Why should we nurture a piece of trash?" You're right. Tower Question of God is not a charity. It's not used to nurture trash. Countless elders and saintess clamored. Long Fei laughed coldly and said, "Along the way, I, Long Fei, have been ridiculed by countless of people, saying that I am a trash whose muscles and veins are clogged up, and that my pubes is damaged, but what about it? These people are usually under my feet. Your so-called talent and potential. I just want to ask, who could break through from the yellow rank to the great circle of the great circle in less than 2 years? Who can?" Long Fei stared at the elder, who had the most joyous smile, and asked, "Can you? I only ask one question. Who in the temple question of God can do this?" Silence, because no one could do it. Long Fei's words were like a slap in the face. "You laugh at me. Are you qualified?" All of their expressions changed slightly. Who could go from the yellow rank to the mortal realm in 2 years? No one in the entire chaos realm could do it. And so could the elders and saintess. They had spent decades of time doing so. At this moment, Long Fei had unknowingly crushed all of them. Many people were displeased, but Long Fei was right. Regardless of talent or potential, they were all to help with cultivation breakthroughs. Without gifted vein, the veins would be blocked and the pubes would be damaged, an existence surpassing all else. This was the truly awesome place. Long Fei, we don't care about all these. We only know that your blood vein talent is low that your veins are clogged up, that your pubes is damaged, and that you do not have the qualifications to enter the tower question of God. A saint said in exasperation. Several of the elders immediately responded. Long Fei grinned and said, I have passed the examination. I am qualified to enter the tower question of God. That is the rule of tower question of God. Humph. Rules depend on who? People like you who don't follow rules definitely don't need these rules. Exactly. We can't waste too much resources on him. There's no need at all. The elders' voices were filled with anger. Wang Shishir slightly said, Do you want to change the rules of the tower question of God? In her hand, she held the tokens. This sentence could be said by her, or the tower master of the tower question of God. At this moment, everyone immediately became silent. The elder said, There is still the final test. And then, two oracle brought in a huge mirror. The sides of the mirror were engraved with all kinds of simple and unadorned patterns. It was obvious that it was not an ordinary mirror. Wang Shishir was shocked and said, Punish evil mirror? Elder, aren't you being too strict? Any person in the punish evil mirror can detect the evil in their heart. No matter who it is, even you have an evil side, right? Punish evil mirror. It was a light that illuminated the human heart. Moreover, as long as there was an evil idea in your heart, it would be able to detect it. Using this kind of mirror test could be said to be giving Long Fei a death sentence. The elders and saintess were also slightly surprised. None of them expected the punish evil mirror to appear here. The elder slightly said, Elder Wang, you better be careful when you speak. You have the divine compass, but I will follow the Tower Lord's instructions. And what you just said already constitutes slander. I can let it go, but if you say those words again, I will not be polite. His voice was filled with a domineering aura. Wang Shishir was crushed to the point that he breathed through. Long Fei smiled faintly and said, I will test. The elder was taken aback. Saint in the great hall was also slightly startled. Wang Shishir even took a step forward to pull Long Fei and gently shook his head and said, Long Fei, this mirror will definitely not allow you to pass the examination. The punish evil mirror can shine upon any evil side of your heart, even if it was just a tiny bit of thought. It's all there. Once the photo was taken, he would be deemed as unqualified, and Long Fei would not have the qualifications to enter the tower question of God, and would even be killed by the powerhouse S in the shrine. Long Fei had entered the punish evil secret territory before. The demonic aura had invaded his body, making it impossible for him to pass the test. No doubt about it. Today's test was aimed at Long Fei. It was to prevent Long Fei from entering the tower question of God. This was Zhan Wushuang's intention. More or less, it was owner of tower question of God's idea. The elder said, He has already agreed and cannot be changed. It was also at this time there was a wave of commotion outside the temple question of God. A large group of golden armor guards were protecting the door, and one of them was the elder who was sent flying by the gods' war beasts. Little bastard, don't fall into my hands. Otherwise, you'll be worse off than dead. The elders of the beast control hall also looked at Long Fei with cold smiles. An elder of the law enforcement hall. The elders who had been trampled by Long Fei all stared at Long Fei with ridiculing expressions. Once the punish evil mirror appeared, Long Fei definitely could not pass it. Long Fei walked forward until he was standing in front of the punish evil mirror, then laughed. Mirror, oh mirror, who is the most handsome in the world? The elder disdainfully said in his heart, Boy, you will cry soon. Chapter 1490, Zhan Wushuang again. Chapter 1490, Zhan Wushuang again. Everyone has a dark side. This was also known as the evil side. Under the punish evil mirror, no one could escape. After Long Fei was possessed by the evil demon, no matter what, his body would still contain traces of evil qi. Furthermore, when he fought, he hated evil like he hated evil, and had a heart full of evil ideas towards beauties. If someone like him were to shine in front of punish evil mirror, he would definitely reveal his true form. However, yet he stood in front of the punish evil mirror fearlessly, and even asked playfully, "Who is the most handsome person in the world?" Everyone looked at him with contempt. He was destined to be unable to escape this calamity. Even if Wang Shishir had the spirit-opening badge, it wouldn't be able to protect him. Demonic beasts were not allowed to exist in Tower Question of God. Everyone looked at themselves in the mirror, waiting for the results. The punish evil mirror also flashed a white light that enveloped Long Fei's entire body. Just like an advanced instrument, the red light scanning Long Fei's entire body. However, a few seconds passed, but there were no changes to the punish evil mirror. The reflection was still Long Fei's handsome face. Long Fei also grinned. As expected, "I am the most handsome person in the world." Ha ha ha. But he was secretly contemptuous in his heart. "A bunch of idiots want to mess with me? You are still very young." Demonic, evil, the evil energy in Long Fei's body had been completely absorbed by the magic body. He was the combination of all the evil spirits. The evil side of Long Fei's body could be said to be as pure as a lamb, purer even than his mother's angel. Want to find his evil? It was a joke. Everyone looked at Long Fei strangely. That elder lowered his head and muttered to himself, "Impossible! The punish evil mirror cannot be like this. Every person in the world has an evil side to them. It is impossible for him to not have one." Wang Shishir then asked, "Clan Elder, is Long Fei's examination over?" Long Fei also laughed. "Clan Elder, the test is ended, right?" The elder's face was ashen, looking somewhat ugly to behold. He had originally thought that the punish evil mirror would be able to kill Long Fei, but then he did not expect the punish evil mirror to have no reaction. His soul was pure. He wouldn't believe it even if he was beaten to death. Just when the elder was silent, Long Fei suddenly moved his punish evil mirror forward slightly and said, "Mirror, mirror, who is the ugliest person in the world?" The punish evil mirror suddenly turned and shone on the elder's body. The elder's expression changed, and he jumped away. But he was still illuminated by the punish evil mirror, and a ray of blood flashed out from the mirror. A series of ghostly wails and wolf howls came out from the punish evil mirror. This was the roar of the elder's evil being revealed, as if his scars had been opened up. Long Fei pretended to be extremely shocked and said, "Clan Elder, the evil in your body is very strong. You can't be the demon apostle hiding in the Tower Question of God, right?" The red light in the mirror showed everything. The elders and Saint S in the hall were all stunned as they stared at the elder without moving. The elder's face sunk. He stared straight at Long Fei and shouted, "Long Fei, how dare you? You dare touch the punish evil mirror." Long Fei grinned and said, "It's just a joke. Don't be so serious. Don't worry. I won't tell anyone that you're the evil demon apostle." While they were talking, Long Fei held on to the punish evil mirror with one hand as he glanced at the elders in the great hall and said softly, "Who else wants to test their strength? This mirror is pretty fun." Wang Shishir pursed his lips and smiled. Everyone had greed and a dark side to them. As long as they had these, they would not be able to escape. At this moment, no one in the hall dared to speak. With the punish evil mirror in Long Fei's hands, if it really caught sight of them, then it would really be too late for them. The elder's expression was flustered and exasperated, like a cat stepping on its tail. He shouted solemnly, "Long Fei, this is a tower question of God. It is not a place for you to behave atrociously. Considering your low talent in blood vein, the blockages in your veins, and the various damage done by pubes, you are not suitable to enter the tower question of God. As you have passed the examination, I will now appoint you as a service disciple of the tower question of God," he quickly said. Without waiting for Long Fei to speak, the elder continued, "Those who agree with my decision raise their hands." Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Asterisk, all of them raised their hands in unison. As agreed. Without any consideration, he hesitated. The elder immediately said, "Temple question of God has unanimously passed. Long Fei, you are now just a service disciple." And then an elder of the Beast Control Hall stood up and said, "Holy Saint, our Beast Control Hall needs a service disciple to dig out the feces." "All right, I'll give it to your Beast Control Hall." The elder laughed coldly and said, "Congratulations to you, Long Fei, for becoming a service disciple of Beast Control Hall." "All right, the meeting is over." The elder laughed coldly and said, "Long Fei, if you don't accept this, you can complain to the Tower Lord. I'm sorry to tell you, but we don't know where the Tower Lord is either." "Ha ha ha. If you don't accept it, you have to accept it too. Do you understand?" The elder was extremely pleased with himself. Originally, he wanted to use the punish evil mirror to kill Long Fei, but without detecting that Long Fei had an evil side, he would not be able to use force to suppress him. However, he remembered what Zhan Wushuang had told him. He absolutely could not let Long Fei enter the tower question of God. Stealing the feces of a service disciple meant that the tower question of God would never be able to rise again in its entire life. Enter the tower question of God trial. That was a joke, Wang Shishir said angrily. "Elder, Long Fei clearly passed the examination. How can you do this?" The elder laughed. "I'm just like that. What can you do?" Wang Shishir, if it wasn't for the spirit communication badge in your hand, you wouldn't even be able to enter the temple question of God. And you're telling me all this? Humph. Who do you think you are? Very contemptuous. Wang Shishir was furious. He was about to go crazy. He was just worried that he would not have the chance to go berserk. As long as Wang Shishir took action, he would use all his strength to kill him. This was the opportunity he had been waiting for. Long Fei suddenly took a step forward and grabbed Wang Shishir's arm. "I'll agree to it." Wang Shishir's brows tightened and said, "Long Fei, this is unfair to you." Long Fei laughed. "To whom has this world been fair?" The elder laughed in pride. "You are right. Who has this world been fair to? I don't care if you're a dragon or a tiger, but if you're a dragon or a tiger, then you have to lay down and let me down. Understand? I'll tell you something else. You won't have a good ending if you go against Lord Wushuang." "Zhan Wushuang." Long Fei's eyes darkened and said coldly, "It's Zhan Wushuang again. When we go back and tell your master, I will definitely enter the tower question of God, and he, Zhan Wushuang, will definitely be trampled to death by your father." Chapter 1491, Fecal Digging Disciple. Chapter 1491, Fecal Digging Disciple. The saintess in the divine hall were too powerful. Long Fei was unable to handle it. Wang Shishir was even less able to deal with it. Moreover, the elder had already decided to kill because of the punish evil mirror, and his magic body could clearly feel the killing intent. He needed a reason to go berserk. As long as Wang Shishir made the first move, both he and Long Fei would die here. Sometimes, Long Fei had no choice but to endure. Even if he was assigned to the Beast Control Hall to become a janitor disciple, he had no choice but to agree. He's okay. But the fairy elder sister could not let anything happen to her. She knew about her father's matter. "Congratulations, Elder Qian. Congratulations! Elder Qian has obtained a janitor disciple. Ha ha ha! Elder Qian, in the future, if our law enforcement hall has any dung to dig, can we borrow your dung disciple? And my martial hall, my refining branch. Ha ha ha! Elder Qian, you are a genius to be a service disciple. You can even think of such a thing. The elders laughed out loud. Qian Zhongrui also laughed complacently. Don't worry, everyone. If you have anything to do, just leave it to him. He is not Beast Control Hall's disciple, but the entire Tower Question of God's disciple. Ha ha ha! Ha ha ha! The crowd burst into laughter. Wang Shirsher looked over, but was still pulled back by Long Fei, and said, Don't worry, I'm fine. Tell my father. I will definitely enter the God's Tower, and I will definitely break through the 100th floor. Wang Shirsher lightly nodded, and said, Long Fei, you need to be more careful. Don't be discouraged, even if you become a service disciple. Any disciple of the Tower Question of Goddess, as long as you have enough achievement points, you can exchange them for a trial of the Tower Question of God. You must not give up. I won't give up, Long Fei giggled, and said, Thank you, Big Sister Fairy, for your concern. Big Sister, for me to have more motivation, can you motivate me a little? Wang Shirsher asked, What kind of motivation do you want? Long Fei said, For example, kissing me or something. Wang Shirsher's cheeks immediately flushed red, and she said, Kid, what are you thinking about? Long Fei said, Do you agree? Wang Shirsher pursed his lips and laughed. As long as you can enter the Tower Question of God trial, I'll kiss you twice, okay? It's a deal. Long Fei immediately laughed. At this moment, Qian Zhongrui coldly snorted, Stealing the feces of disciple Long Fei. Follow me to the Beast Control Hall. Long Fei acted as if he hadn't heard anything, and said while looking at Wang Shirsher, Little Sister Fairy, you must be careful yourself. Qian Zhongrui stared at him and shouted, Long Fei, are you deaf? In that instant, Long Fei suddenly turned, his eyes flashing with a cold, killing intent. Don't court death, understand? Qian Zhongrui's heart chilled, and he shivered slightly. For a moment, he was actually crushed by Long Fei's aura and couldn't say a word. Half a minute later, Qian Zhongrui shouted, Long Fei, you dare to speak to me like that? You disrespect the elders and are punished with 10 days of not resting. Clean up Beast Garden for me. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for triggering the quest, cleaning Beast Garden. Rewards, 100,000 experience, 1,000 holy source, 1,000 points. Long Fei did not think much of it. He was now at the semi-realistic realm. So was he going to level up to the divine level or something? There were some questions in his heart as well. Long Fei said coldly, Clan Elder, are you going to the Beast Control Hall? Qian Zhongrui swung his sleeves, coldly snorted, and said, Brat, just you wait, I'll make you suffer. Beast Control Hall, one of the many halls in the Tower Question of God. They were specifically used to train war beasts and also to train some beast-taming disciples. Some of the war beasts here come from other planes. It could be said that there was a herd of beasts in the innermost area of Chaos Realm. Beast Control Hall's mission was to tame them and turn them into powerful beasts so that they could be transported to the ancient holy battlefield for use one day. To send a beast into the ancient holy battlefield was to receive a reward from the god. Beast Control Hall had been working hard all these years. Other than them, there was also the Rift Soul Pass that the Beast King Question of God was protecting. That was also one of the Beast Control Hall's missions. He flew from Temple Question of God to Beast Control Hall for more than 2 hours. The entire Beast Control Hall was surrounded by a mountain, and from time to time, the sounds of demon beast roars would come out from the mountain forest. Qian Zhongrui brought Long Fei directly to the Beast Hall. The elders of the Beast Control Hall and disciples had long since been waiting here for them. The one seated at the very top was the hall master of the beast control hall, and also Qian Zhongrui's big brother, Qian Changrui. He glanced at Long Fei and faintly said, "Long Fei, I am a very easygoing person. As long as you hand over the God's War beasts, I can guarantee that no one here will bully you, and you don't need to be a service disciple." This was the reason why Qian Zhongrui brought Long Fei back here. God's War beasts. Long Fei laughed coldly. God's War beasts? You want to go back? Sure. Finished. Long Fei moved. Come out. Rumble. The God's War beast's huge body rushed out and directly tore off the roof of the beast hall. His body was too huge, and the height of the beast hall wasn't even half of his body. The moment it was seen, it was immediately destroyed. Furthermore, the God's War beasts had done that intentionally. It waved the God's War hammer in its hand fiercely, while Lala, a perfectly fine beast hall, was reduced to rubble in an instant. All the elders and disciples had stupefied expressions on their faces. Long Fei, Qian Zhongrui roared out in exasperation. Long Fei picked his ears and said, "I'm not deaf being called that loud." Qian Zhongrui shouted, "What do you mean by that? You want to challenge the entire beast control hall, right?" Long Fei laughed and said, "Nothing much. Didn't you say I was the hall master who handed over the God's War beasts? I've already handed it over. If you have the ability, you guys can take it back." The God's War beast stared at Qian Zhongrui. If he dared to shout at Long Fei again, he would smash the hammer down. Qian Changrui's brows tightened and said faintly, "Long Fei, what do you mean by this? Do you really want to be my enemy?" Long Fei grinned and laughed. "Hall Master, what you said is not right. Why is it that I am your enemy? It's clearly you guys who are making life difficult for me. I've already handed over the God's War beasts. If you have the ability, then tame it. If you don't have the ability, then don't just blindly eavesdrop here. Just listen and get annoyed. Right. Where is the beast garden? I'm going to dig out the dung. I'm an excrement disciple. I'm a fecal boy. There's a fecal ladle on my left hand and a bucket on my right. La la la." Long Fei immediately started humming. Qian Zhongrui was so angry that he wanted to die. Qian Changrui also heavily shouted, "Bring him to Beast Garden. If Long Fei sees that Beast Garden has a pile of beast feces, I will definitely heavily punish him." Long Fei didn't care at all. Beast Garden? Ha ha. This is F*King, giving me more experience. Chapter 1492, Dragon Master. Chapter 1492, Dragon Master. What kind of place was the Beast Garden? The most precious place in Beast Control Hall. It was the origin of the entire tower question of God's Civil War beast, the origin of mounts. There were countless powerful war beasts here, and many of them came from all different planes. They all had one thing in common, and that was to be strong. The only thing that they had in common was, with a lot of experience and holy source, this was a boss that could deal a huge amount of damage. Thus, when Qian Zhongrui wanted Long Fei to clean up Beast Garden, his mind immediately turned evil. That was a huge wave of experience. Long Fei's level was not high yet. He had yet to reach the level where his experience was stagnant. In other words, there was still a realm above the semi-realistic realm. So since it was like this, he definitely had to level up. Could he not accept the free experience? Only a fool wouldn't want it. Big brother, are we going to let this kid off so easily? Look at how arrogant he is. It's simply lawless. Qian Zhongrui's face was filled with anger. He wished that he could tear Long Fei apart. Qian Changrui said slightly, "To be able to tame God's War beasts, this brat is not simple." Qian Zhongrui stared blankly for a moment and said, "Big brother, what are you saying? The gods' war beasts should be ours, not that brat's. Qian Changrui said, "You and I have been unable to tame the gods' war beasts for more than 100 years, but he was able to do so. It means that the gods' war beasts does not belong to you and me. War beasts were demon beasts with intelligence. Taming them required not only a strong ability to control beasts, but also luck. If it was fated with you, you could easily tame it. If it was fated with you, no matter how hard you tried, it would be of no use." Qian Changrui had trained in the beast mastery for hundreds of years. He was very clear on this point, but Qian Zhongrui didn't care at all, and said, "I don't care if it's fate or not. In any case, I'm just dissatisfied with this brat. Who does he think he is?" Qian Changrui said, "Other than gods were beasts, there are also beast king question of goddess. The reason why you look down on him is because his beast mastery is stronger than yours, and because he can tame the war beasts that we cannot tame. Qinrui, maybe he has the answers we're looking for." Qian Zhongrui's gaze tensed up. He looked at Qian Changrui, and his expression secretly changed. Qian Changrui looked up into the sky, deep in thought. What was the limit of the beast mastery? Beast garden. A disciple of the beast control hall reminded him out of good intentions. "Junior brother, this is the beast garden. Many service disciples died in there." Long Fei said, "Thank you. If people give me 1 point, I'll give them 3. "You're welcome. I have heard about your matters. The disciples of our beast control hall admire you for taming the beast king question of God." The disciple said in a low voice. Long Fei smiled slightly. The disciple said, "The beast garden is divided into 2 parts. One part is the abandoned garden. The other part is the untamed beasts. And the other part is the beast garden. It is relatively safer there, so you should go there to familiarize yourself with the situation." "All right, junior brother, this is all I can say. Be careful." Seeing an elder walk out, he immediately retreated. The clan elder looked at Long Fei and said, "So you are the new service disciple?" Long Fei nodded and said, "I am. Follow me." The elder turned around and walked in. Roughly 4 hours later, the elder pointed to a cave in front of them. "It is useless to see a huge cave. There is a pile of demon beast excrement in there. Go and clean it up." Long Fei asked slightly, "Clan elder, are there any demon beast inside?" The elder gave a disdainful sneer and said, "Why are you asking so much bullshit? If I tell you to go, then go. If you dare to continue talking, then I will cripple you." White smoke rose from the huge cave. Obviously, there were demon beasts inside. The meaning of the management elder of the beast garden was also very obvious. It was to send Long Fei to his death. The corner of Long Fei's mouth twitched, and he did not speak any further, only saying, "Understood." And then he walked towards the huge cave and thought to himself, "I was really afraid that I would not have a war beast." Not long after, Qian Zhongrui walked out from the woods and asked, "How's the explanation?" Reporting to Great Elder, "I saw Long Fei entering the lava beast cave. He, in less than 10 minutes, he will be eaten by the lava beast king. And that place is extremely small. God's war beasts can't even get out." Everything was within his calculations. Qian Zhongrui laughed coldly, looked at the huge cave, and said, "Brat, I'm still not able to deal with you? Lava Beast King, this is a pinnacle war beast. Without the protection of the gods' war beasts, I want to see how you can still be so arrogant." Ha ha ha. The elder also laughed loudly. Within the cave. Sky-swallowing rat, eat him. Understood." The sky-swallowing rat rushed out and immediately swallowed the lava beast king before it could react. With a gulp sound, it entered the lava beast's stomach. A few seconds later, ding! Congratulations to player. Long Fei for obtaining 100,000 experience points for killing Lava Beast King, 30,000 Holy Source, and 1 energy values. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Lava Blood Vein. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Lava Fist. Do you wish to learn it? Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining. The system exploded. Exchange points. Long Fei converted all the items into points. Right now, he needed a wave of points, power of blood god, and even fitted soul. He had to be prepared. Moreover, there were still a lot of things that Long Fei needed in the exchange hall. For example, some special items. Loyalty Stone. He needed to expand his heavenly court and underworld's secret base. That's right. Long Fei's mind shook, and he muttered, "This is my lifespan. If I can tame all the war beasts here, wouldn't that be a group of super boss war beasts?" These war beasts were all boss level, so the amount of experience they could gain from killing them was much greater than taming them. Half an hour later, Long Fei walked out of the huge hole, with one hand holding onto the sh*t ladle, and the other holding onto the wooden bucket. He looked like a professional feces picker. He didn't die? The elder's face sank. Qian Zhongrui glared fiercely and said, "Useless trash." Humph! Qian Zhongrui looked at Long Fei with an extremely unhappy heart and said, "Let him enter the dragon cave." That elder was stunned. "Great elder, I'm afraid that's not good. I'm not saying that it's not good if he's dead, but if I enrage that guy, the consequences would be unimaginable. That is divinity of the dragon race. What if?" His voice was trembling. Dragon Clan Master. From the divinity. Chapter 1493. Fecking I am a professional. Chapter 1493. Fecking I am a professional. Elder, is there anything else that needs cleaning? East of the valley. All right. With one hand holding the sh*t and the other holding the wooden bucket, Long Fei immediately headed towards the eastern valley. Half an hour later, a flying tiger, whose body was covered in black and white, with a pair of steel wings on its back, stood in front of Long Fei as if it was impotent. "Are you convinced?" Long Fei shouted. "I'm just asking you, are you convinced?" The flying tiger said bitterly, of course, how could I not?" On the left was the gods' war beasts. On the right was the sky-swallowing rat. As long as he dared to say half a no, he would beat the crap out of them. Long Fei smiled slightly and said, "As long as you submit, bring it on. Sign an agreement with me." Long Fei's idea moved and entered the soaring tiger's sea of consciousness. The power of the beast mastery poured in. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for taming soaring tiger. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the war pet's ancient ferocious beast soaring tiger. 100 experience points for the spirit appraisal. 100 points for the soaring tiger. 100 points for the spirit test. 100 points for the special reward. Idea control the soaring tiger. Long Fei said slightly, "Right now, clean up your place. Remember, you must clean it well. You can't just urinate on the spot. If not, your father will King cover you up." The flying tiger was suffering, and it even had the heart to die. The gods war beast suddenly shouted, "Did you hear what boss said?" Yes. I'll go clean up now." The flying tiger said bitterly, he was once a king, but now he had fallen to digging out dung. What was this? Moreover, he had no choice but to do it. If he did not do it, the gods war beasts would be able to move his head with a single strike, and the other sky-swallowing rat would be able to swallow him whole. Just thinking about it made him feel bitter. All his life, all those beast masters in Beast Control Hall couldn't do anything to him, but in the end, he was still tamed. Sigh. The flying tiger, let out a long sigh. With a stare from the gods' war beasts, he immediately ran out and said, I'm going to clean up now. I'm going to. In the Western Valley. Are you convinced? Long Fei arrogantly stared at the black gorilla in front of him. It was much bigger than the King Kong in the movies, but it was different. His face was now covered in tears as he cried, I surrender! I surrender! That's more like it. Come, sign a contract with me. Long Fei's beast mastery moved and easily entered the gorilla's sea of consciousness, taming it in an instant. The gorilla didn't dare to resist at all, because the result of his resistance was that there would be a few more bundles on his head. The god's war hammer would be floating on top of his head. A hammer will come down. He didn't dare to. Ding! Congratulations, player. Long Fei, for obtaining the ancient war pet, King Kong Fury Ape. You have received 100 experience points, 100 holy source, and 100 points. You have received a special reward of 100 points. In the Southern Valley, 10 minutes later, the system beep appeared in Long Fei's mind again. Long Fei stayed in the Beast Garden mountain range for the whole half a month, cleaning everything in sight with a **T ladle in his hands, cleaning wherever he went, like a cleaner. In the Beast Hall. Why are the war beasts in the forest crying less and less? Qian Chongrui felt it was strange, so he asked casually. An elder replied, probably because he has been living in peace recently. Right, Qian Chongrui asked again. How is the service disciple Long Fei now? Although he is only a disciple of digging through feces, his ability to tame gods' war beasts is not simple. It is possible that he is a genius beast tamer. The reason why our Beast Control Hall's influence has been weakening year by year in the Tower Question of God is not because our beasts are not strong enough, but because we, the Beast Control Hall, have not been able to obtain any war beasts. It couldn't be tamed at all. This brat might be able to change our Beast Control Hall, Qian Chongrui said indifferently. Qian Zhongrui immediately said, Hall Master, he is only a service disciple, and also a trash with a low talent for blood vein-s. He used to be a slave, but this kind of lowly trash can't even be considered a part of the show. Is there a need for us to use him? Qian Chongrui said, We all know in our hearts whether he is trash or not. To be able to tame gods' war beasts is not by luck. I want him to participate in this Beast Master exam. What's everyone's opinion? As soon as he finished, the faces of all the elders in the hall slightly trembled. Qian Zhongrui immediately said, I object. He is a janitor disciple. He has no qualifications to participate in the Beast Master exam. Me too. Hall Master, you can't possibly say that you are able to let him participate in the examination just because he tamed Beast King Question of God, right? Hall Master, I don't know about anything else, but I only know one thing. Long Fei has offended a lot of people in the Tower Question of God, and one of them was Zhan Wushuang. Think about it. If he became a Beast Master disciple, then the powers in the various halls would definitely target us, the Beast Control Hall. Me too. Many of the elders objected. Long Fei had offended too many people. If they supported him, he would definitely offend many people, especially Zhan Wushuang. The current Zhan Wushuang was at the peak of the Tower Question of God. Who would dare to offend him? He was someone who was destined to enter the ancient holy battlefield. Who would dare make him an enemy? Qian Chongrui's brows tightly knitted. He did not think that there would be so many elders who objected. The meeting came to an end. However, Qian Chongrui did not give up. Long Fei had done something that he did not. He knew that Long Fei was a genius beast tamer. Such a genius should not be buried. Are you convinced? Boom. Without waiting for the demon beast to speak, the gods' war beast smashed its head with its hammer, causing a huge bump on its head. Tisk tsk tsk. Can I tame it? Brother Long chuckled and said, That's more like it. Come, sign an agreement with me. The beast mastery was unleashed. Half a minute later, ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the war pet. Long Fei opened the system to have a look, and his face revealed a pleased smile. In half a month, 28 super beasts, these guys can definitely form a super war beast regiment. Yan Huang Ancestor. The mission that you gave me is actually being completed step by step. Disintegrate the Tower Question of God. These beasts were not in Long Fei's war pet space, which had only recorded their names. All the war beasts were in their original positions. Their relationship with Long Fei was a contractual one, and before they could be of use, they were like time bombs. Once Long Fei activated them, they would instantly explode. Instead of entering the God's Tower, Long Fei had more time to understand it. He actually wanted to torture it, then uproot the roots. That's fun. Chapter 1494 Thunder Beasts. Enraged, Long Fei made his move. Chapter 1494 Thunder Beasts. Enraged, Long Fei made his move. How is Long Fei now? Reporting to young master. Long Fei became a service disciple in the Beast Control Hall, just to dig out the feces. I find it funny just by thinking about it. A Saint Presbyter could not help but laugh. Zhan Wushuang also sneered, but he understood Long Fei, and was definitely not willing to become a service disciple. I will enter the God's Tower tomorrow, and you keep an eye on him. Remember, no matter what, you can't let him enter the Tower Question of God. The elder nodded. Yes. In this half a month, Zhan Wushuang left the Tower Question of God. He once again increased the God's Shield's power to 1,000 levels and made the 9 secret warrior family and the Hell Gate gather even more ancient spiritual artifact crazily. Also, during this time, Zhan Wushuang entered one of the 9 nether battles. Now, his cultivation base wanted to become even more powerful than it was half a month ago. Right now, even if he did not use God's Shield S, he was confident that he would be able to defeat Long Fei in one move. He had now obtained one of the master's sacred arts. Dealing with Long Fei was easy. This sacred art was also the power he had used to attack the rest of the 20 layers of God's Tower. Saint Presbyter walked out of Zhan Wushuang's courtyard. With a bland smile, he said, "That disciple who dug out the feces still has something to watch over. He's already crippled." Long Fei had not made a sound for half a month, so it was clear that he was crippled. Such a person was not worth his time to keep an eye on. Thus, he also did not take Zhan Wushuang's words to heart. The Beast Master Mountain Range was a place of exile. Who could jump out from that place? The weakest existence amongst all the forces in Beast Control Hall. Long Fei was also a service disciple of the Beast Control Hall and was even digging out feces, so it was even more impossible for him to rise again. Furthermore, for someone like Qian Zhongrui to suppress him and make him rise up from being a service disciple, that was simply an impossible feat. For half a month, there was not a single bit of news related to Long Fei. Many people thought that Long Fei had been tamed. He was just a piece of trash now, trash who had perished in Beast Control Hall. How many people would remember him? Elder, I've cleaned everything that needs cleaning. Is there anything else you need to clean? I heard that there are some arrays that restrict the Beast Garden's forbidden grounds. Those arrays there are all the scariest beasts in history. Do you want me to clean those places? Long Fei's face was sincere. The beast he was controlling could only be considered a low-level beast in the Beast Garden. A truly savage war beast would not be so easy to come into contact with. Moreover, they were all sealed with formations, just like the gigantic evil spirits suppressed by the Rift Soul Pass. That was a truly terrifying beast. Long Fei really wanted to get all of them. Lu Wu looked at Long Fei's sincere face and sneered. Are you addicted to digging for feces? In his heart, he was also full of contempt. He's really a piece of trash. He's so active in digging out feces. Long Fei said, I'm a little addicted. Do you still have a place for me to go? Lu Wu remembered what Qian Zhongrui said about the Dragon Clan master last time. His eyes turned sinister as he thought to himself, since you want to die, then... Just as he was about to speak of the Dragon Clan master's forbidden area, there was a roar not too far away. Lu Wu's eyes lit up. Damn it, Beast Garden is in trouble. Long Fei also muttered, the beasts are enraged. Someone is going to die. Ah. Run. The Thunder Beast is enraged. Everyone run. Miserable screams came from the forest. This was a lesson on beast taming, but he didn't expect that the originally docile thunderous beast would go completely berserk and completely lose control of the situation. Moreover, that elder was instantly turned into slag by a bolt of lightning. The disciples of the beast control hall also scattered in all directions. However, a thunder beast was a high-level battle beast, and the destructive power of a lightning beast in a berserk state would skyrocket. The lightning field that was released was incomparably massive. It was impossible for the disciples to dodge it. Lu Wu did not care about Long Fei and immediately escaped. Hall Master, the Thunder Beast is enraged. Right now, no one can control it. Elder Lin is already dead inside. There are still dozens of disciples inside. What should we do now? Qian Chongrui didn't think much about it and immediately said, follow me, save the person first. As for the lightning beast, if you can't control it, kill it. Qian Zhongrui immediately objected. Hall Master, the lightning beasts are high-level beasts, and half of them are already tamed. They cannot be killed. If we can't kill them, then those disciples are doomed. Saving him is more important. Kill him, Qian Chongrui said determinedly, and then led a group of people to quickly rush to Beast Garden. Long Fei heard the screams coming from the forest and completely ignored them. No matter how many people died, it would have nothing to do with him. Just as he was about to leave, a disciple ran out and saw Long Fei suddenly shouting, save the person inside, please. That disciple was the one who had brought Long Fei to the Beast Garden. Rumble! 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 The lightning snakes danced chaotically, and the sound of thunder wreaked havoc. The entire forest was in the middle of a minefield, and anyone who entered it would die at the cost of half their life. Long Fei looked at him without hesitation. He burst forth with his cultivation and immediately ran up. Rumble! A bolt of lightning struck down, and Long Fei grabbed onto the disciple. With a leap, he shouted out loud, quickly run, leave the rest to me. With that, Long Fei rushed into the lightning field. Crack, crack, crack. Not only was there an enormous amount of lightning, the entire lightning field was filled with lightning elements. Crackling and popping, lightning appeared on Long Fei's body. This was far more powerful than he had imagined. Buzz. Azura battle form. Open. A layer of defense overlaid him. Long Fei's speed increased again as he rushed to the center of the lightning field. At this moment, one of the disciples fell to the ground. His chest was charred black, and his body was twitching. The other few disciples were hiding in a corner and shivering, completely panicking. Rumble! Thunder Snake Spear. The war beast let out an angry roar. Its lightning was vicious, and like a giant python, it struck the injured disciple on the ground. Long Fei's body rushed forward and landed beside that disciple. He stared at the lightning beast not far away and said, I'll give you a chance, take away all your bullshit lightning fields. Otherwise, without waiting for Long Fei to finish speaking, the beast roared, Who the hell do you think you are to dare talk to me like that? Even Qian Changrui has to kneel in front of me. Rumble! Thunder Snake struck Xiang Longfei. Longfei turned his right hand over, causing the sword of destroy to instantly combust. Damn you! Shua! His body charged forward. It instantly appeared in front of the lightning beast. At this moment, Qian Changrui rushed over with an elder. Qian Zhongrui shouted, Longfei, you dare to kill it. I will take your life. The thunderous beast was the result of several years of painstaking effort in taming it. It could not be destroyed just like that. However, Longfei ignored him, and the sword of destroy slashed down. Chapter 1495. Uninterested. Chapter 1495. Uninterested, he completely ignored Qian Zhongrui. The sword of destroy in Longfei's hands, fire god's saber chi, furiously slashed down. Shua! The electric snake flashed as it heavily blocked the attack. A ball of fire and a ball of electricity clashed together, creating a crazy explosion. The scene was extremely frightening. Boom, boom, boom. Huge tremors rang out incessantly. The lightning beast became even angrier, but Longfei's eyes darkened, the idea moved, and the Yang god's power within the sword of destroy burst out with a heavy shout, break for me! A loud shout rang out. With a heaven-defying momentum, the powerful fire god's saber chi crushed the entire electrical light. Furthermore, it was crushed like an eggshell. Boom! It shattered into pieces. Crackle, crackle, crackle. All of the thunder and lightning in the lightning field was crushed back into the Thunder Beast's body. This scene, he was utterly shocked. The surrounding elders and disciples were all stunned. The power that Longfei had released was simply too strong. Formidable, only Longfei knew how much power he had used just now. This berserk Thunder Beast's power was extremely shocking, and its control of Thunder Element was also at a shocking level. If it wasn't for the eruption of the power of the Sun God, it really wouldn't have been able to crush it. The sword of destroy sank and pressed down on the Thunder Beast's shoulder. As the sword sank into the thunderous beast's flesh, blood spurted out. Qian Zhongrui suddenly shouted, Brat, you dared to kill it. I will forever be with you. After working so hard for a few years, he couldn't let Longfei destroy it like this. This was a thunder beast that he had tamed for several years. It was about to succeed. If he died to Longfei, he would really cry to death. Qian Changrui said slightly, Longfei, if you would please show mercy. This lightning beast is something he tamed this year. Is that so? A cold smile appeared on Longfei's face. Since it's like this, you should have said so earlier. The sword of destroy fiercely retracted. Qian Zhongrui's heart loosened. He shouted out, Brat, at least you're sensible. Before he could finish his words, Longfei flipped his left hand and shouted in a deep voice, Beast mastery! Buzz! A powerful force instantly surged into the thunderous beast's sea of consciousness. In that instant, the thunderous beast's idea was under the control of the powerful force. Rumble! The thunderous beast's body struggled violently, and all the muscles on its body trembled. In a short 3 seconds, all the spirit chi was withdrawn, and they quietly stood behind Longfei. Ding! Congratulations to player Longfei for successfully summoning the Thunder Beast. The taming was successful. The current Thunder Beast was Longfei's war pet. The look in its eyes had completely changed, becoming very docile. The surrounding people were all scared silly. It was extremely difficult to tame a Thunder Beast. Great Elder Qian Zhongrui had spent a few years just to tame it a little, but he had never really conquered it, nor become its beast. However, Longfei only used a second. This kind of beast mastery was 10 times stronger than the great Grandmaster Beast trainer like them. And it was more than 100 times stronger. Shock. He was extremely shocked. Qian Changrui's eyes trembled. She was too excited to the point of being unable to speak. Too powerful. This brat is too powerful. He is simply a super genius. However, Qian Zhongrui's expression was the complete opposite. His anger was boundless as he took a step forward and roared toward Xian Longfei. "Kid, what did you do?" Not waiting for him to get close, the Thunder Beast moved, blocking in front of Longfei. With a thunderous boom, it directly sent Qian Zhongrui flying and smashed heavily onto the ground like a dead dog. Automatically protect. Possessing the consciousness of the self, without the need to truly control it, is it relying solely on itself? Oh my God! The surrounding elders all had expressions of shock on their faces. It was impossible to describe the excitement they felt in their hearts. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they wouldn't have believed this to be real. To be able to tame it in 1 second, and not just to control the war beast, but to have it submit to them in the true sense. This kind of beast mastery. It was completely different from theirs. Qian Changrui glanced at Qian Zhongrui and said, "Men, bring him down." And then he excitedly walked forward and asked, "Longfei, are you willing to participate in the Beast Master exam to become a true disciple of the Beast Control Hall?" Longfei grinned and said, "I'm not interested." Then Longfei looked at the thunderous beast and said, "Let's go." He picked up the **T and started singing Left Hand, Right Hand in a slow motion. That figure was simply enough to mesmerize a group of people. Even Qian Changrui felt a little like worshipping him. No way. A genius disciple like this can't be wasted in vain. Qian Changrui's heart tightened and thought to himself, right now, the Beast Control Hall needs talented people, talents who can lead the rise of the Beast Control Hall. Longfei, no matter who you have offended, no matter what happened in your past, you are the talent that I want. I will never let you go. Longfei disappeared into the forest. However, the scene of him taming the thunderous beast in a second was imprinted in the hearts of every single disciple. It could not be described with words. In the Beast Hall, I would like to propose once again that Longfei join the Beast Master exam, Qian Changrui said. I object. After bandaging himself up, Qian Zhongrui once again objected and said, "A person like him is fundamentally unworthy of being our Beast Control Hall's disciple. He is absolutely against it." Qian Changrui said, "You have also seen his beast mastery. The one he grasps is different from us. His beast mastery is stronger than all of us. Such a genius cannot be wasted." Qian Zhongrui said, "I don't care if he is a genius or not. In short, I do not agree. I hope that all elders can carefully consider it. The one he offended is Zhan Wushuang. If we help him up, our Beast Control Hall will definitely be affected." Qian Changrui frowned and said, "Zhan Wushuang is truly powerful, but our Beast Control Hall will not be manipulated by others. If we want to rise up, we must rely on Longfei's talent. It's fine if you don't agree to this matter. It's fine if you do. In any case, I will definitely let him participate in the Beast Master exam." Qian Changrui had already made his decision. Qian Zhongrui's face turned ugly. The hall fell silent. After a long while, an elder said slightly, "Hall Master, the key thing is that Longfei is not interested in the Beast Master exam right now. What should we do?" Longfei rejected her bluntly. He really had no interest in the Beast Master exam. Right now, the thing he wanted to do the most was to tame all of those extremely powerful vicious beasts in the Beast Garden, especially the powerful war beasts in the restricted areas. When he heard about the Dragon Clan Master, his blood boiled. Qian Changrui smiled faintly and said, "Leave this matter to me. I have a way to let him participate in the examination. Hee hee. Chapter 1496. Instructor Ironblood. Chapter 1496. Instructor Ironblood. Where is the restricted area of the array formation? Longface searched the entire mountain. However, he didn't have a clue. He had been through the entire mountain range, yet he couldn't find any forbidden areas. This made him very unhappy. The divinity's dragon race suffered from the destructive attack and escaped in all directions. There are gods Martial Continent S, but would there be Chaos Realm S as well? Could the dragon clan's Master S have escaped from the divinity as well? Longface's thoughts flew. The Long family was the dragon race. The dragon race was the Long family. Every single huge dragon was actually an extension of the blood vein and part of the Long family. Returning to the divinity was the dream of every dragon clan disciple. It was the same for Long Fei as well. If he could find the dragon clan master, he might be able to find some information about them. However, he was unable to find anything for several days. Big Brother Long Fei. Not far away, a beast master school. Disciple walked over. It was the disciple that Long Fei had saved last time. Imperial City. When the Imperial City saw Long Fei, they quickly walked over and said, "Big Brother Long Fei, did you find an even stronger beast?" Long Fei shook his head. "I couldn't find it." At this moment, 6 more disciples walked out from the forest. These were all the disciples that Long Fei had brought out in front of the Thunder Beast last time. When they saw Long Fei, they were all excited. Long Fei asked, "Are you in the trial?" "The Beast Master exam is coming in a few days. We need to hurry and train. Becoming a strong beast trainer is our dream." "Brother Long Fei, can you teach us beast taming?" A younger disciple said. His eyes were hopeful. The other disciples were the same. Long Fei's performance last time was too impressive and left an unerasable impression in their hearts. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for triggering the quest and imparting it to the Beast Mastery. Mission: impart the Beast Mastery. Level: a reward: 100,000 experience points, 10,000 holy source, 10,000 points. Note: obtaining an S rank reward is a special item. Long Fei thought for a moment. Since there was nothing to do and he couldn't find the forbidden grounds, he said, "All right, I'll teach you guys a move." Task accepted. Long Fei brought the 7 of them to the Deep Mountains Road to explain some of the basic conditions and requirements of the Beast Mastery. These people were all extremely talented. It would be done at 1 o'clock. Theory is always theory if you want to improve the Beast Mastery. You still have to rely on practice. Understand? Many disciples nodded. Not long after, they found a giant golden python deep in the mountains. Long Fei made everyone stop and said, "This is an intermediate level war beast." Regarding this kind of beast, the first thing you guys need to do is to use your Beast Master idea to enter his sea of consciousness. Let's start with the exchange. If you are unable to communicate, then use tough techniques. In short, what you want are not war pets, but brothers that are fighting together with you. Also, do not be afraid. I'm afraid. Your momentum will be lost. War beasts are the same as humans. They don't like to choose the weak. Let's begin. Long Fei told them his experience in controlling beasts. Of course, he did not impart the ultimate profound truths that the Sleeping Beauty had imparted to him. Even if he were to impart them to them, these disciples would not understand it. Hiss! An idea rushed into the golden python's sea of consciousness. The giant golden python was instantly enraged. He rushed directly towards a disciple, who was so scared that his face turned pale and he fell to the ground. Everyone rushed up to him and tried to help him up. Long Fei suddenly shouted, "Don't help anyone. I just said, war beasts don't like the weak." If a giant golden python can scare you to this extent, what about after? What should he do if he met a god-level war beast? What if one of your beasts wants to enter the ancient, holy battlefield? What's the use of being like this? Longface shouted heavily. The beast mastery's body was extremely weak. Their strength, speed, and defense were all ordinary and weak because they were focusing all their energy on the cultivation of the beast mastery. When facing a gigantic war beast, they usually had to flee after a single failure, waiting for the next opportunity. The disciple was so scared that he fell to the ground, his face pale and trembling. Seeing the giant golden python getting closer, he was already panicking. "Save me! Save me! Come and save me!" Longface said heavily, "Do you want to be a weakling for your entire life? Do you want to do nothing for the rest of your life? If you don't want to, then fight with me and conquer this war beast. If you cannot conquer this war beast by force, then use your unyielding spirit to conquer it." The disciple's face turned white. He did not listen to Longface at all. Boom! Longface's voice exploded as he roared. "Do you want to be a weakling forever?" Rumble, rumble, rumble. The disciple's heart sank. Longface's voice directly struck his mind. At the same time, he released a roar. Ah! He was going to throw caution to the wind. He got up from the ground and rushed towards the golden python. In the blink of an eye, he had become a man who was willing to risk his life. The beast mastery was released one after another. Ah! Ah! The giant golden python was also infuriated. It swung its huge tail and caught him, and with a violent tug, it was sent flying into the air and heavily crashed down. Boom! Puffed! A mouthful of blood sprayed out. The faces of the disciples beside Longface darkened. They all wanted to rush out, but Longface still firmly stopped them. "Big brother Longface, he will die. Big brother Longface, he can't take it anymore. Our cultivation can't compare to yours. If you try a few more times, he'll die. Indeed, a few more times and he'll die." Longface said coldly, "So what if I die? He would always be a weakling and a trash. What was the point of such a person living? Do you want to live a life where others despise you and mock you? Or do you want to die with pride?" Longface kept his eyes on the golden python. He was also looking at the amount of blood on the disciple's head. However, he had the expression of a cold-blooded instructor. Boom! Ah! The disciple continued to risk his life, to completely sacrifice himself. Longface's words were what hurt him the most. He didn't want to be a weakling, didn't want to be a trash that everyone mocked and laughed at. He didn't want to see a lightning beast hide in a corner and tremble. He didn't want to. Boom! The giant golden python swung its tail again. He was sent flying again. However, he crawled back up and said solemnly, "So what if you are strong? I will make you my beast. I will do it. Bring it on. I will show you a different world." Ah! He once again charged up to face the golden python. It was also at this moment the golden python opened its bloody mouth and tried to swallow him up. He stood where he was without moving an inch and said heavily, "Do you want to curl up here for the rest of your life? Come with me and see the outside world." Boom! Clenching his teeth, he released a stream of beast mastery. At this moment, Longface bowed slightly. Buzz! Suddenly, the giant golden python froze in one spot and did not swallow it. That disciple also turned around to look at Longface in an instant and said excitedly, "I succeeded." Longface heaved a sigh of relief. At the same time, the system sounded out a notification sound. Ding! You're tuning in to the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.